Chapter 389. Inside the huge city filled with people, inside a pawn shop in the southwest corner. A total of 738 cultivation coins. The shopkeeper pushed the pair of glasses on his nose that had appraisal function, glanced at the magic treasure on the table, and said indifferently to Su Yun in front of him, "Only 700 cultivation coins." Su Yun frowned. "That's not bad, kid. Do you think these things are worth much? There's an auction house diagonally opposite. You can find all of these treasures there. There's a price. You can see if this old man's price is fair or not. If you want to sell it, then sell it. If you don't want to, I won't force you." The shopkeeper said. Hearing that, Su Yun did not insist and nodded his head. The shopkeeper immediately took out 730 cultivation coins and gave it to Su Yun. The 700 cultivation coins were placed together, forming a small sand dune. It looked majestic, but in truth, it was not much, and he kept it all into his storage ring. After obtaining the cultivation coins, he was not anxious to absorb them. The 700 cultivation coins was not a small amount. If he could absorb them all, he might be able to step into the 5th stage of cultivation, but at the moment, Su Yun wanted to go to the Feng family more. "Shopkeeper, do you know where the Feng family is located in Sky Central City?" Su Yun tidied up the cultivation coins and asked. "Feng family? Why are you asking?" The shopkeeper put down the things in his hands and asked curiously. "Oh, I have something to ask." Su Yun did not want to explain further. The shopkeeper glanced at the proof of qualifications on Su Yun's waist and shook his head. "If you want to work for the Feng family, I can tell you very clearly, without fighting strength of 700, you will not be able to enter the Feng family. I just want to find someone." "Find someone? 200 fighting strength is not enough? Will they even bother with you?" "Forget it. I'll tell you, walk straight down this street. After 3 crossroads, turn left." "That's it." "No, there's a coachman there. Pay 1 cultivation coin. The coachman will bring you there. The Feng family is in the center of the city. It will take a while to get there. Sky Central City is huge, and you cannot fly in the city. If you walk, you will need at least half a day. If the coachman brings you there, you will reach in less than an incense stick of time." "Thank you." After leaving the pawn shop, he followed the shopkeeper's instructions and found the coachman. Under the coachman's lead, in less than an incense worth of time, Su Yun was sent to the front door of the Feng residence. Arriving in front of the Feng clan, Su Yun finally understood why everyone's expression became serious when he talked about the Feng clan. The door seemed to be made of jade and was exceptionally exquisite. In front of the door, there were 2 golden lions that were about 5 meters tall. The door was engraved with densely packed arrays, making it look imposing but not out of place. The walls on both sides were made of precious stones, and the ground near the Feng mansion was also silver in color, as if it was made of silver. Those who didn't know would think that they had walked into a mountain of gold and silver. Of course, this wasn't the main point. The main point was the person guarding the door. There were a total of 6 of them, but all of them had combat powers above 700. That also meant that the 6 of them were all 5th stage Spirit Star Realm cultivators. To use 6 5th stage Spirit Star Realm cultivators to guard the door, what kind of person would do such a crazy thing? Su Yun was startled. If he was still in Sky Marshall Continent and heard of such a thing, he would never believe it even if he was beaten to death. Su Yun paused for a moment, then turned to look at the door of the Feng residence and walked over. "Who are you?" When the 6 guards saw Su Yun walking over, they all shouted. Su Yun's footsteps stopped. He cupped his fists and said, "I am Su Yun. I am here to seek an audience with young Master Feng Lingsheng. I hope that everyone can help me pass a message." "Seeking an audience with young Master Lingsheng? What relationship do you have with my young master?" "I'm an old friend of young Master Lingsheng," Su Yun said. "Old friend? You?" The 6 of them looked at each other, then looked at the proof of qualifications on Su Yun's waist and laughed out loud. "Ha ha ha! Stop laughing. Where did this stinky ant come from?" Quickly Scram. "You have a friendship with my young master? What a joke." Scram further away. "Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Who is our young master? He is the golden jade deity of the 9 heavens. He is unreachable. You lowly commoner, you think you could talk about friendship with my young master? Heh, it seems like any Tom, Dick, or Harry dares to come here now." The guards laughed incessantly. Their mocking voices were like steel needles that pierced into Su Yun's eardrums. Su Yun was furious, but he could not do anything. After using the heavenly crystal, his strength had dropped greatly, and he was not a match for any of them. What's going on? Why aren't the few of you working properly? What are you guys chatting for? Just then, a lazy voice came out from the other side of the street. Everyone turned to look and saw a group of people on horses walking over. The leader was a young master riding on a white horse with wings on both sides. He was dressed in a gold and jade-lined long robe. With a crown on his head, he had a handsome face and looked extremely confident. Beside him, there was a woman riding on a similar mount. She was dressed in red and had a charming appearance, but her expression was extremely cold. Her eyes were bright and resplendent, as if there was an unmeltable ice within them, causing people to feel a bone-chilling coldness. Her red lips were slightly pursed, and her skin was white with a hint of red, extremely exquisite. Other than the two of them riding, the rest were walking. There were both men and women. All of them were followers, but out of all of them, the weakest was a 6-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator. When the guard saw the group walking over, all of their expressions became serious. They immediately knelt down and greeted, "We welcome young master and young miss back to the residence. All of you rise." The young master laughed and nodded his head. He looked at Su Yun and asked, "Who is he?" "This lowly one does not know. He said he is looking for young master Lingsheng." The guard replied, "Oh, looking for second brother?" The white horse young master's face revealed a look of playfulness. His gaze swept towards the proof of qualifications on Su Yun's waist and laughed. "Truly, birds of a feather flock together. Fighting strength of 200, it is quite suitable for that trash. But the Feng family is not a place that anyone can enter. Get him to scram." With that, the white horse young master was about to enter the residence. Su Yun's heart turned cold, his eyes revealing a sinister look. "What? I never thought that the Grand Feng family would look down on others. I thought only servants would do that. Since it's like that, there's no need to see him." Su Yun snorted. Hearing that, the white horse young master stopped his horse, his face revealing a smile. "What did you say just now?" "I think young master should have heard what I said. If you want to kill me, I will let you kill me here. Since I am just a lowly existence with fighting strength of 200, young master can kill me with one finger, but if word of this spreads, it will more or less affect young master's reputation." Su Yun said indifferently, "You're right. I'll treat your words as bullshit. Scram now." The white horse young master maintained his smile, although his eyes were filled with a smile, but within the smile, there was an unconcealable killing intent. "Cousin brother, why are you still wasting time with trash? Quickly go in." The red-clothed lady behind seemed to be somewhat impatient and spoke calmly. "Let's go." The white horse young master was too lazy to speak with Su Yun and immediately rode his horse in. But just as he was about to enter the residence, he stopped, turned his head, and said, "That's right. Since this aunt wants to see second brother so much, then this young master will not let him have his way. Pass down the order. This person is not allowed to step into the Feng residence. Once he enters, kill without mercy. Other than that, regarding this person, you must not tell second brother. Understand?" "Yes, sir," the guard shouted. The white horse young master smiled at Su Yun with a face full of ridicule, and then disappeared into the residence. Su Yun secretly clenched his fists, his heart surging with killing intent and anger. "I never thought that the Feng residence would be so difficult to enter. No wonder Ling Qingyu and the rest would say that. Forget it, since I am unable to seek help from Feng Lingsheng. I can only rely on myself." Su Yun looked at the Feng residence coldly, then turned and left. There were many materials required to activate the Sword Origin life source, but there were only 4 that were the hardest to obtain: Dawn Creek Water, Ju Miao Heart Chi, 3 Moon Spacetime Metal, and Illusory Spirit Chi. If it was in the Sky Central City, these things were practically impossible to find, and the majority of people had never even heard of them. But in the ultimate martial world, these things were rather common. Although Su Yun did not know where to get them, the almighty auction houses had them for sale. Su Yun went to the biggest auction house in Sky Central City and searched for the prices, for treasures cost a total of 100,000 cultivation coins. 100,000. Forget about Su Yun. Even to the almighty beings, it was an incredible number. I cannot give up just like that. I've already dealt with the profound sky sect. If I do not revive Sword Elder, how can I be at ease? Revenge for revenge, kindness for kindness. Su Yun had always maintained his own way of doing things. But I have to think of a way to earn some cultivation coins. Su Yun, who was standing in front of the auction house, raised his head. At the top of the auction house, there were many cultivation coin missions. Some were to find rare materials, some were to hire people to kill people. There were all sorts of missions, but the prerequisite was that one had to be strong enough. Although a 4th-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator was strong in the Sky Martial continent, and could be said to be at the peak, but in the ultimate martial world, it was nothing. After thinking about it, Su Yun could only sigh and accept the mission to find the hexagonal origin Peaceful Heartstone. First, he found a place to absorb the 700-plus cultivation coins, and successfully broke through. His spirit essences once again increased in strength, and all the spirit essences in his body had already broken through 100,000. The capacity of his chi channels had already exceeded the thickness of a finger, and the speed of his spirit chi was more than twice as fast as before. After entering the 5th stage, Su Yun led the wind-chasing beast and rushed towards the place where the hexagonal origin Peaceful Heartstone was most likely to be produced, Chiseling Body Mountain. Chapter 390. The hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone was an extremely sturdy gemstone. It was said that the majority of spirit cultivators used it to strengthen their treasures or to forge weapons. The Chiseling Body Mountain was the place that produced the most hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone, and with its fame, the number of people who went up the mountain to search for hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone increased. But the last time Chiseling Body Mountain produced hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone was 10 years ago, and after such a long time without producing any hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone, many people had already given up on searching. Without any leads, they could only come here to try their luck. In any case, there was no need to pay a deposit to obtain materials in the auction house, and even if they failed, they would not lose anything. If anyone else handed in the task, they could directly sell the materials to the auction house. The Chiseling Body Mountain was a barren mountain filled with rocks. The mountain was shaped like a body. It was said that when an almighty being knew that he was about to die, he used the earth creation technique to create a huge mountain and then chiseled it into a body, with the intention of turning into a stone body and reviving. But before he could complete it, he fell. All of Su Yun's information was obtained from the discussions of the people in the auction house. Although he wanted to ask a few questions, but thinking about the pitiful card on his proof of qualifications, he decided to listen obediently. The remaining power of the heavenly crystal dissipated, and his fighting strength recovered. After being promoted to the 5th stage, his fighting strength had risen to 700, which was more or less better, as most people had that many points. Su Yun stepped on his flying sword and flew to the waist of the Chiseling Body Mountain. He then landed and followed the rugged mountain path upwards. The Chiseling Body Mountain was extremely huge, and the difficulty of finding a single stone was obvious. The hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone was blood-red in shape, and amongst the brown rocks, it was rather conspicuous. Furthermore, the hexagonal origin Tai Heartstone would release a lavender smell, and if he was careful, he would be able to find it. Su Yun's eyes looked around carefully. He tried his best to avoid the footprints, and headed towards a place where no one was around. Suddenly, a dense blood stench floated over from the front. Su Yun's heart tensed up. He immediately pulled out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword and carefully followed the blood stench. It was extremely quiet. There were no sounds, and after walking for an incense stick worth of time, many broken corpses appeared in his line of sight. The corpses were scattered all over the slope, and there were traces of battle all around. The air was still rippling with destructive power that could not be dispersed. Su Yun walked over and caressed the forehead of a middle-aged female corpse for a moment. Their bodies were still warm, and their blood had not dried up. It could be seen that these people had died not long ago. From a smell of destruction, it was impossible to determine the strength of the attacker. Bang! Suddenly, a loud noise came from afar. Su Yun stood up to look, only to see that the chiseling body mountain had a large amount of dust. Rocks were rolling down, cracks had appeared on the mountain walls. The entire chiseling body mountain seemed to be trembling. Within the dust, there seemed to be Xian skills clashing. Could it be that someone was fighting over there? Could it be related to the deaths of these people? Forget it, forget it. Su Yun bent down and started to plunder the bodies of these people. What he lacked the most right now was cultivation coins. It would be a waste if he did not take this windfall. Every single one of them had a spatial bag on them. All of them were not weak. Their proof of qualification showed that their fighting strength was around 1,000. Most of them were around the 5th or 6th stage. After plundering a total of 11 bags, Su Yun threw them all into a storage ring, and then found a hidden spot to watch the battle from afar. Bang, bang, bang. A series of explosions sounded out. The entire mountain peak was completely flattened. The air trembled, and a large amount of rocks flew in all directions, like flowers blooming. Su Yun immediately retreated with his sword, avoiding the aftershocks. The undulations continued for a few breaths of time before stopping. Then, he heard an angry voice. Qiren Wang, you killed my entire family of 13. I've trained bitterly for 1,200 years. Just to kill you today will be the day you die. A low roar came out from the mountain peak. To be defeated by you, Hui Piao Miao, I, Qiren Wang, consider myself unlucky. I never thought that you would actually be a 5th stage spirit master cultivator. Truly, the river flows 30 years east, 30 years west. Forget it. Do it. Another old and frail voice came out. Su Yun listened attentively and got a rough idea of what was going on. It seemed like he was here to seek revenge. If you want to die? It's not that simple. I heard that you have a 7th tier Imperial equipment. Its power is not ordinary and can defend against all treasures. Now obediently hand over that 7th tier Imperial equipment to me. Maybe I will let you die a quick death. Ha 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 ha. What revenge for your family? That's just an excuse, right? You obviously have your eyes on this old man's 7th tier Imperial equipment. But this old man will have to disappoint you. I know that I am not your opponent, and have long moved the 7th tier Imperial equipment. Hui Piao Miao. You want my treasure? Dream on. Ha 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 ha. You, sly old fox. See if I don't pull out your soul and torture you for eternity. The voice seemed to have become angry and was about to make a move. But just then, the destructive chi surged again. Following that, an astonishing destructive power spread out. Hui Piao Miao, do you think this old man will let you do whatever you want? Dream on. I won't be able to escape today, but you won't have it easy either. If we're going to die, we'll die together. A hysterical roar erupted. Hearing that, Su Yun's face changed. He immediately threw out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword. He stepped on it and rushed forward. Self-destruct. He truly did not expect Qiren Wang to choose to self-destruct at the last moment to end his life. After self-destructing, a spirit cultivator would die without a soul, but if it was only his body that died, he could use his soul to revive. It seemed like Qiren Wang was determined to perish together with Hui Piao Miao. Dong! A shocking explosion sounded out, and a gigantic mushroom cloud blossomed on the chiseling body mountain, which then engulfed the entire chiseling body mountain. Dust filled the sky, and the shock wave spread all the way to the sky's central city, causing everything within a radius of 1,000 kilometers to tremble violently, to the point of causing a massive earthquake. Su Yun, who was controlling the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword to escape from the chiseling body mountain, was unable to retreat quickly and was directly struck by the shock wave, causing him to fall from the sword and land beside a river. Crash! He crawled out of the river and gasped for breath, then sat down beside the river to recover his chi. At that moment, the entire chiseling body mountain was completely leveled. The mountain had turned into ashes and disappeared. The surrounding forests and plains were covered in dust, causing many spirit cultivators nearby to be alarmed and rush over. Even Su Yun, who was 1,000 kilometers away, could see the chiseling body mountain that had disappeared. The shocking scene was something that many people would never be able to forget. I will definitely not be able to complete the mission this time. Su Yun laughed bitterly. He was extremely helpless. But the treasures that I have plundered from the corpses should be worth some cultivation coins. Let's gather them bit by bit. Su Yun took out all the spatial bags from his storage ring, and then took out all the treasures from them. What made Su Yun disappointed was that he had seen many of the treasures in the auction house before. The most expensive one was only worth 100 cultivation coins, and could not be considered high-quality items. If it was Qiren Wang or Hui Piao Miao's spatial bag, maybe there would be many more valuable items. It is impossible to go back and look for their spatial bags. Let's not talk about whether their bags are still around. Even if they are, it is impossible for them to land in my hands. There are probably many almighty beings heading towards the chiseling body mountain. Huh? What's this? Su Yun, who was counting the magic treasures, saw something strange in his line of sight. It was a small blue flag with a large word Imperial on it. The pole had a gold pattern, and holding in his hand, he could feel the astonishing power that was being transmitted out from the flag. He had never seen such a thing in the auction house before. He immediately held it tightly and imbued his spirit chi to inspect the treasure. Just as the spirit chi entered the flag, Su Yun was startled awake, his entire body perspiring profusely. True divine spirit chi. What an astonishing true divine spirit chi. He swore that he had never seen such an intense true divine spirit chi in his entire life. All the enemies that he had met in the past, including the 5th stage spirit star realm cultivator, were incomparable to the power of the flag. Not only were they incomparable, even if there were 100 of them, they would not be able to compare to the power contained within the flag. Imperial? How can such a treasure belong to the people who died? I remember that the owner of the flag was only a 5th stage spirit star realm cultivator. Su Yun was suspicious. He suddenly thought about what Qiren Wang and Hui Piao Miao had said. The two of them had once talked about a treasure, which was the 7th tier Imperial equipment. Qiren Wang said that he had already transferred the Imperial equipment. Could it be that he transferred it to his followers? That's possible. Hui Piao Miao was powerful and would definitely not search for the belongings of his followers. If they did not die, they could take the treasure away. I really didn't expect that the treasure that two experts fought so hard for would actually fall into my hands. Su Yun was ecstatic. He thought for a moment, then used his spirit chi to prick his finger and squeezed out a bit of blood and dripped it onto the flag. In that moment, a miraculous connection was transmitted from the flag to Su Yun's arm, following his arm to his heart. It came from a connection on the flag. He grabbed onto the flag and raised it up, then silently imbued spirit chi to activate the flag. In that moment, the flag released a large amount of true divine spirit chi. With it as the center, it transformed into a gigantic circle, which was like a wall that surrounded his body. Su Yun stared at the flag for a moment, then suddenly brandished out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword, controlling it to fly out of the circle. After spinning in the air for a moment, the sword tip suddenly flew towards his heart. Clang! Just as the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword neared the circle, it seemed to have collided with something indestructible, and was instantly repelled, a circle of spirit chi rippling out from the point of impact. Perfect defense. Su Yun stood up and looked at his surroundings, his eyes lighting up. 7th tier Imperial equipment? It should be very high grade. Then what about an 8th tier Imperial equipment? 6th tier Imperial equipment? Are all these treasures from this world? Maybe I should really learn more about these things. But if Qiren Wang has such a treasure, why didn't he use it to fight with Hui Piao Miao? With such an absolute defense, I can definitely gain the upper hand in a fight. Could it be that Hui Piao Miao has an even more terrifying treasure? Su Yun thought. Without a doubt, the treasure was a priceless treasure. Maybe it could be worth 100,000 cultivation coins, but Su Yun did not dare to exchange it for cultivation coins. His current strength was weak, and only the almighty beings could take out 100,000 cultivation coins. To the almighty beings, killing him for his treasure was definitely more worth it than exchanging 100,000 cultivation coins for a treasure. Su Yun kept the 7th-tier Imperial equipment and dispelled the defense around him. Exhaling, he turned and walked out. What surprised him was that the treasure only increased his fighting strength by 1 point, which was truly puzzling. Could it be that it can't even compare to an ordinary treasure? Now that the chiseling body mountain is gone, I can't find the hexagonal origin tie heartstone anymore. I should go submit the mission, but with this treasure, maybe I can accept a higher level mission. Su Yun thought in his mind. He brandished his flying sword and flew far away. Chapter 391. Inside the crowded auction house. In front of a counter stood a man in a black cloak with a sword sheath slung on his back. The auction house was filled with people with all sorts of weird outfits, so the man did not stand out. Behind the counter, the middle-aged lady looked at Su Yun and rolled her eyes. I knew you wouldn't be able to complete it. Since you don't have the ability, don't randomly take on missions. Do you know how much work you're putting on us? If you have the time to waste, why don't you spend it on training? If you don't have the ability, why take on missions? Her words were filled with ridicule. Su Yun ignored the lady's complaints and immediately pointed to another mission. He placed the proof of qualifications on the counter and said indifferently, "Register that mission for me." Why you still want to take it? The middle-aged lady looked at Su Yun with her eyes wide open. I have the authority. Please help me register it. If you're not willing, I can go to the auction house to complain to you. Hearing that, the middle-aged lady's face immediately turned red. After stuttering for half a day, she could only obediently do as she was told. Please help me post a recruitment mission. Just then, a clear voice came out from the side. Following that, a proof of qualifications was placed on the counter. Su Yun glanced at the proof of qualifications and realized that it was a blur. It was obvious that the information on the plate was covered. The person who came was probably someone with status. He turned his head to look. He saw a man with a long face and middle-parted hair standing beside him. He was dressed in green and had a slender figure. When he smiled, he was extremely warm. Noticing that Su Yun was sizing him up, the man smiled back to show his friendliness. Oh, so it's young Master Nangong. Can I ask what kind of recruitment mission you would like me to post? This young lady will immediately handle it for you. The middle-aged lady immediately stopped what she was doing for Su Yun. She revealed a flattering smile and spoke respectfully. This young lady? Su Yun's mouth twitched. Go and handle it for this little brother first. I'm not in a hurry. The man laughed. Aya, this little brother is still looking. He's not in a hurry. Young Master Nangong, you could just say it. It's not a problem. The middle-aged lady did not seem to care about Su Yun at all as she spoke to the man. She was practically crawling on the counter, and seeing the passion in her eyes, it was as though she wanted to jump over the counter and pounce on the man called Nangong. But Su Yun had a good impression of Nangong, so he did not expose him, and said indifferently, Brother, you can announce it first. I will take a look. I'm really sorry about that. Thank you, brother. Nangong cupped his fists and laughed, then said, I need a person who is around the 5th stage of the Spirit Star realm, but cannot exceed the 6th stage. I need him to complete a mission for me. As for what the mission is, I am afraid that we will have to discuss it face to face. If he is able to complete the mission for me, I will pay him 200,000 cultivation coins. You can just hang up like this. The deadline is 1 day. After today, I do not need it anymore. Nangong smiled bitterly, as if he had thought of something worrying. On the other hand, when Su Yun heard this, his heart palpitated. 200,000 cultivation coins. That was an astronomical figure. Moreover, didn't he need this money right now? He raised his head and asked Nangong, What mission does young Master Nangong need this person to complete? Brother, are you interested? Nangong laughed. He had already noticed the proof of qualifications that Su Yun had placed on the counter, and knew that Su Yun's strength matched his requirements. Of course. Su Yun nodded his head. With the 7th-tier Imperial equipment, Su Yun was not afraid that Nangong would harm him. Furthermore, he was just a small fry. There was no need for him to harm him. Adding that the old lady handling the registration was so familiar with the man, it could be seen that he was a famous figure in Sky Central City. Isn't there a Nangong family that is as famous as the Feng family in Sky Central City? Could it be that Nangong is the young master of the Nangong family? That's about right. Su Yun thought. That's great. Nangong was overjoyed. He immediately pulled Su Yun's hand and walked out. "Brother, follow me." "Where to?" "To my house." "Ah." Su Yun was immediately startled. Crack! A huge stone door slowly opened, and a bit of green smoke drifted out from inside. Then a girl dressed in red walked out. She looked to be no more than 11 or 12 years old. The young lady had red lips and white teeth. Her face was cute and adorable. Her body was exquisite, and on her perky buttocks was a snow-white foxtail. "Yo, junior sister, I never thought that you would actually wait for me to come out. It's truly strange." The young lady giggled and spoke to a lady dressed in white robes at the stone door. The lady looked at the young lady in front of her, her beautiful face revealing a trace of astonishment. "Senior sister, did you break through again? Why can't I sense any of your chi? What is your cultivation level now? Why don't you take a guess?" Hu Qianmei laughed. Long Xianli did not say a word, her expression returning back to normal. "All right, if you have anything to say, just say it." Hu Qianmei hugged her breasts with a lazy expression. Long Xianli hesitated for a moment, then said, "Today, I am actually here to bid farewell to senior sister." "Farewell?" Hu Qianmei's smile froze. "Yes, farewell." Long Xianli nodded her head. "The elites of my sect will follow the sect leader to a special place to cultivate. They will stay there for a long period of time and may not return to the Sky Martial Continent for a short period of time." "Special place? What is it?" "I am not sure at the moment. It is said that this place requires someone to lead the way. The Supreme Sect leader once had a friendship with an almighty being. This almighty being recently came to the Sky Martial Continent. So he came to the Immortal Sword Sect to pay his respects to the Supreme Sect leader. After paying his respects, he explained his wishes to the sect leader. The sect leader readily agreed, and we will set off in a few days." "Oh, so it's like that." Hu Qianmei glanced at Long Xianli, then suddenly laughed. "Junior sister, don't bid farewell. I can't bear to part with you. How about this? You tell your sect leader and bring me along. I cannot overstep the sect's rules. Not to mention that it is up to the sect leader to decide who to bring. I cannot decide." Long Xianli shook her head. "Heh, so stingy." Hu Qianmei snorted. Her expression was rather dissatisfied. Her eyes turned around, staring at Long Xianli. No one knew what she was thinking. At this time, Long Xianli bit her lips. After a moment, she spoke again. "Senior sister, actually I came to find you today, firstly to bid farewell to you, and secondly to ask you for a favor." "What is it?" Hu Qianmei did not understand. Long Xianli lightly turned her small face. A trace of sadness flashed past her eyes. She lightly pursed her lips and said, "Senior sister, I know that your relationship with Su Yun is not bad. If you see him next time, can you ask him something for me?" "Su Yun?" Hu Qianmei was startled and asked curiously, "What do you want me to ask him?" However, Hu Qianmei saw Long Xianli whisper something. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito and could not be heard clearly. Then, Long Xianli immediately turned and ran. "Hey, junior sister! Junior sister! What did you say? Speak clearly before you leave." Hu Qianmei anxiously shouted a few times, but Long Xianli had already disappeared. "That's weird," Hu Qianmei muttered, but she did not give up. She extended her finger to her lips and muttered, "A special place to cultivate? What kind of place is that?" Nan Gong's residence was located at the southern side of Sky Central City, and its scale was not inferior to the Feng residence. It was said that the Nan Gong family and the Feng family had always been at odds, and the two families had been fighting for hundreds of years and had only recently calmed down. But that did not mean that the two families were living in harmony, and it was common for them to compete in the dark. The man called Nan Gong Qing brought Su Yun into the residence, and then headed straight for his own house. On the way, he saw many servants in the residence. Most of them were the original residents of the ultimate martial world. Their cultivation were not high, but the guards of the Nan Gong residence were all extremely powerful. The lowest of them had a fighting strength of 1,000, far more powerful than the guards at the gates. Not only that, every single wall of the Nan Gong residence, every single path seemed to be a treasure. They were all enchantments. Wherever Su Yun went, he would be enveloped by dense, profound spirit qi. It was extremely mystical. There were all sorts of mystical spirit beasts in the residence. Some were birds with 4 pairs of wings. Some were cats with flames all over their bodies. It was extremely bizarre, causing people to think that they had arrived at another world. Greetings, young Master Ching. We greet young Master Ching. Greetings, young Master Ching. Along the way, the servants kept on greeting young Master Nangong. Regardless of whether it was the servants or maids, they were all extremely passionate. Su Yun could tell that they were not acting, but were truly respectful towards the young master from the bottom of their hearts. It seemed that Nan Gongqing was rather popular in the eyes of the servants in the residence. Shui Xiang, serve the tea, and bring me the best elemental flow well. Nan Gongqing pushed open the door and spoke to a servant by the side, then invited Su Yun into the house. After sitting in the house for a while, the servant brought over 2 cups of fragrant tea. With just a sniff, the fragrance assailed his nostrils. The tea was extremely spirited, surging with profound spirit qi. It did not seem like tea, but more like spirit pills. The young masters of the ultimate martial world must eat and drink extraordinary things, right? Come, young Master Su, have some tea first. Nan Gongqing laughed. Please, please. After drinking the tea, Su Yun felt extremely refreshed and full of vigor. His entire body seemed to be filled with an endless amount of energy. His spirit essences and chi meridians had undergone a huge change. He looked at the proof of qualifications on his waist, only to see that his fighting strength had increased by 100. It was currently 800 fighting strength. It can't be. Drinking a cup of tea can have such a huge effect. This is comparable to breaking through. Su Yun was secretly surprised. All right, young Master Su, as time is of the essence, let us go straight to the main topic. Nan Gongqing placed the teacup down and said to Su Yun, "What does young Master Nangong want me to do? It is not something difficult to you. It should be easy. After it is done, I will pay you 200,000 cultivation coins, but remember, you must complete this mission perfectly." "What mission is it exactly?" Su Yun asked. "Impersonate me." Nan Gongqing spat out word by word. Chapter 392. What did you say? Su Yun was startled. He felt that he had heard wrongly. This mission is for you to disguise as me. Young noble Su, it shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Nan Gongqing's expression became solemn. Disguise as you? Su Yun took a deep breath. He felt that it was hard to believe. Why do I need to disguise as Nan Gongqing for no reason? Although I have the shapeshift bone piece and can easily disguise as him, but what does Nan Gongqing want? The 200,000 cultivation coins should not be easy to earn. Sigh. Nan Gongqing sighed. A look of worry surfaced on his face again. Young noble Su, this is a long story. I have no choice but to ask you to disguise as me. Tell me about the situation first. Su Yun said. Nan Gongqing nodded his head, and then told Su Yun everything that had happened. In truth, it's like this. In a few days, the famous merchant family, the Huai Ro family, will send their eldest daughter, Huai Romuyu, over here. The Nangong family and the Huai Ro family have been good friends for generations, and both parties have had many marriages. This time, Huai Romuyu's goal is to marry me. When I stepped into the 5th stage of the spirit soul realm, Huai Romuyu was born. At that time, without me knowing, my father and Huai Romuyu's grandfather decided on this marriage, hoping that the two of us can become dual cultivation companions, but I do not wish for that to happen, so I hope that young noble Su can help me. Is Huai Romuyu very ugly? No, I heard that she is as beautiful as a fairy, devastatingly beautiful. Then her cultivation is too low, and she is not fit to be your dual cultivation companion. The Huai Ro family has been doing business for generations. The patriarch is an almighty being. The family has an endless supply of cultivation coins, and with the support of the large amount of cultivation coins, Huai Romuyu's cultivation has soared, and her current strength is equal to mine. Then why are you not willing to have a powerful beauty as your dual cultivation companion? How many people can only dream of it? Su Yun could not understand. Nan Gongqing sighed and said helplessly, "In truth, I already have someone in my heart. For the sake of not betraying her, I do not wish to marry Huai Romuyu. So, I wanted to seek young noble Su's help." Hearing that, Su Yun understood and started to admire Nan Gongqing. It was normal for spirit cultivators to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Very few of them were single-minded, but no one expected Nan Gongqing to reject the marriage with Huairou Muyu for the sake of other dual cultivation companions, causing others to look at him in a new light. Su Yun nodded his head and said, "Then why don't you just explain it to Huairou Muyu? Your relationship is Yun, right? Right, right? Things are not as good as you think, young Master Su." Nan Gongqing sighed. Although the Nan Gong family and the Huairou aristocratic family have a good relationship, but the Huairou aristocratic family is a merchant family, and their strength is much stronger than the Nan Gong family. If I were to reject them openly, it would only embarrass the Huairou family, and it would affect the relationship between the two families, and I would become a sinner of the Nan Gong family. Tell me about your plan. It's simple. Huairou Mu has never seen me before, and this time, her motive for coming here is to understand me. So I want you to replace me and interact with her. You are only at the 5th stage of the Spirit Star Realm. Huairou Mu will definitely mind, and if you treat her coldly and make things difficult for her, she will not be able to accept you. As long as she does not agree to the marriage, then the Huairou family will be the one to break the marriage, and I, Nan Gongqing, will be able to sleep peacefully without any responsibilities. Young Master Nan Gong, do you think that's possible? Although Huairou Mu has never seen you before, but all the servants in the Nan Gong family know you. How can I impersonate you? Unless you have a perfect disguise, I am afraid this plan will not work. The shapeshift bone piece was definitely a perfect disguise, but in the end, Su Yin still hoped that Nan Gongqing would be able to give him a bit more protection. After all, if anything were to happen, he would offend the 2 aristocratic families. You do not have to worry about that. You do not have to wear any disguised treasures. Huairou Mu has countless of treasures on her. If you use a disguise, she will definitely see through it and become suspicious. So the best way is to use your true appearance to meet her. As for the people in the residence, you do not have to worry as long as you do not leave my courtyard. All the servants and maids in the courtyard are my people. I have already informed them. They will accompany me to put on a show with you. Nan Gongqing laughed. Then what if your brothers and sisters come see you? Or what if your parents come? Don't worry, my parents went out yesterday and will only be back a few days later. As for my brothers and sisters, you can push them away if you can. If you can't, you can just hide. The maids will tell them that young Master Qing is out. Won't that be fine? Even my wife is coming. Why would my parents go out at such a time? This is most likely Nan Gongqing's doing. Su Yun thought, and then asked, "Your parents are fine, but I'm afraid your siblings won't be so easily fooled, right? Whether there is anyone in the house or not. How can they not sense it? You are right, my brothers and sisters are all powerful. Your cultivation is not high enough. You are unable to conceal your spirit qi. They will definitely be able to sense it." Nan Gongqing scratched his chin and thought for a moment. Then his eyes suddenly lit up. He exclaimed, "I got it. What is it?" "Follow me." Nan Gongqing quickly walked out and headed towards the back of the courtyard. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately followed. At the back of the courtyard, there was a small forest. Inside the forest, there was a faint swamp and rotten smell, causing people to feel uncomfortable. In the middle of the forest, there was a small path made of green bricks, and every brick had an array formation on it. Following the green brick path, at the end, there was a gigantic swamp. In the center of the swamp was a dilapidated altar, and in front of the altar was a statue. The statue was of a man. He was dressed in a long robe with a sword in his hand. His entire body was tattered, as though a long time had passed. It seemed as though no one had been here for a long time. This is my Nan Gong family's forbidden grounds. Very few people come here. If anyone barges into the courtyard, you can run towards the forbidden grounds and hide there. The spirit qi of the forbidden grounds will cover your spirit qi, and you'll be fine. Got it. Su Yin nodded his head. Originally, our Nan Gong family is not allowed to enter this place, but you are not considered one of us, so it is fine for you to enter. All right, young noble Su, I will leave everything to you. After everything is done, I will pay you 200,000 cultivation coins. If you fail, I will also pay you 100,000 cultivation coins, but I hope that you will do your best. I will do my best. Suyin laughed. Next, I will teach you some of the rules of the Nangong family and the things that you need to take note of. I will be going to my dual cultivation partner's place tonight. Before you settle Huai Ro Mu Yu, I will not be back. If anything happens, just send a servant called Xiao Chui to inform me. She knows where I am. Nangong Qing said. Yes. On the second day, at the entrance of the Nangong residence, rows after rows of guards of honor were neatly arranged. All sorts of strange arrays made the entrance look extremely gorgeous. From afar, a group of people could be seen. A gigantic golden goat was carrying a luxurious palanquin on its back. At the two sides of the palanquin, there were many people dressed in noble clothes with stern expressions. None of them were lower than the 10th stage of the Spirit Star realm. Gongs and drums resounded in the sky. Flowers filled the sky. Array seals released light auras that shone in all directions, causing these people to look like immortals. Seeing that, the passers-by all stopped in their tracks and raised their heads to look. Who is that? It's so imposing. Can't you see the words on the palanquin? Huai-Ro. These are the people from the Huai-Ro family. Huai-Ro family? That business family? What are they doing here in Sky Central City? They're most likely here for the Nangong family. The Huai-Ro family and the Nangong family have always had good relations, but this time, who knows why they are here? The passers-by all started to whisper and discuss for the sake of finding out the reason. They actually followed the group towards the Nangong family. They're here. Quickly play the celestial music. A middle-aged man bellowed to the people beside him, and then led a group of higher-ups of the Nangong family towards the gigantic golden sheep. Nearing the golden sheep, the middle-aged man cupped his fists and laughed. Young Miss Mu, you has graced us with your presence to personally come to my Nangong family. I am Nangong Hu. I am here to represent my big brother and sister-in-law to welcome young Mississippi. With that said, the golden sheep stopped, and its gigantic body slowly lowered down, crawling on the ground. The people on both sides of the palanquin all knelt down on one knee. The palanquin slowly opened, and a fragrance wafted out from the palanquin. Following that, a beautiful figure walked out of the palanquin and landed gracefully on the ground. When the lady appeared, the people around immediately took in deep breaths. Her skin was smooth, her lips were like flower petals, her hair was like a waterfall, she was like a beautiful jade. What kind of beauty was she? So beautiful. This she is the daughter of the patriarch of the Huai-Ro family, young Miss Huai-Ro Muyu. How can there be such a beautiful person in the world? Humph, she's not that beautiful either. A female cultivator said sourly. But kind of think of it. What is Huai-Ro Muyu doing here? It can't be that she's here to play, right? There's nothing fun to do here. I think she's here for marriage. The Huai-Ro family and the Nangong family have marriage alliances from time to time, and this time will definitely not be an exception. From what I know, this Huai-Ro Muyu is extremely competitive and opinionated. She is not old, but her cultivation is extremely high, and she has already participated in the family's business and has some small accomplishments. The Huai-Ro family values her greatly. Maybe she is here to see her future dual cultivation companion. Ha! She is truly daring. If it were any other female cultivator, they might not be like that. That is why she is different from the rest. The passers-by discussed. The commotion did not stop, of course. Most of them were infatuated with Huai-Ro Muyu's absolute beauty. Even Nangong Hu and the higher-ups of the Nangong family were slightly absent-minded, but they were still seniors and were only absent-minded, unlike the juniors by the side, who were already immersed in the beauty. I never thought that Uncle Nangong Hu would personally welcome you. Muyu is ashamed. Please accept Muyu's bow. Huai-Ro Muyu said gently. She walked in front of Nangong Hu and bowed gracefully. Miss Muyu is too courteous. This is nothing. Treating others with courtesy has always been the principle of my Nangong family. Nangong Hu laughed, his eyes revealing a look of admiration. Why don't I see Uncle Du Hua and Aunt Zhang? Huai-Ro Muyu looked at everyone and asked gently. Sigh. It is truly unfortunate. For the next 2 days, big brother and sister-in-law have to handle an extremely urgent matter and are unable to welcome you. I have no choice. I hope that miss will not take offense. What's there to take offense to? I can understand. Uncle Hu, you don't have to call me miss, just call me Muyu. Huairo Muyu's voice was still gentle, but when she said those words, it was not a joke. Nan Gong, who nodded his head, the admiration in his eyes deepened. Just then, Huairo Muyu's gaze turned and landed on a handsome young man dressed in embroidered robes. She then walked over and bowed. Is this my future husband? Nan Gongqing? Muyu greets you. Ah. The man was startled for a moment, then immediately shook his head and revealed a warm smile. Miss Muyu, you have mistaken me for someone else. I'm not my second brother. I am Nan Gonggu, not Nan Gongqing. Although he said that, the man's eyes were brimming with passion and joy that could not be concealed. So it's like that, my apologies. Huairo Muyu nodded her head, then asked, Then, may I ask where Nan Gongqing is? Chapter 393. When a question was asked, everyone subconsciously looked around, but Nan Gongqing was nowhere to be seen. Nan Gonghu laughed helplessly. That, Niece Muyu, it's really unfortunate. Yesterday when I went out to train, I was ambushed by Baifeng bird and almost lost my life. I only managed to escape with the help of an expert. I'm currently injured and resting in the courtyard. With that said, the atmosphere immediately reached a new high. All of the servants and experts of the Huairo family were enraged. Your Nan Gong family truly is guts. My family's young miss personally came to meet your young master. But not only did your patriarch not personally welcome her, even your trash young master did not come out. What do you think our Huairo family is? You are truly bullying us intolerably. A few voices full of resentment and anger came out. Hearing that, Nan Gonghu immediately perspired in perspiration. He did not know how to explain. In truth, he was the most oppressed one. It was fine if his big brother Nan Gong Du Hua and sister-in-law Zhangzi Yin had matters to attend to. Since they had urgent matters to attend to, they could not do anything about it. But coincidentally, Nan Gongqing was also in trouble yesterday. Why were all these matters happening today? Although the Nan Gong family and Huairo family had always been on good terms, but that was something that happened yesterday. Following the expansion of their business, the Huairo family's influence became more and more robust. In terms of qualifications and strength, the Nan Gong family was not worthy of being mentioned in the same breath as the Huairo family. Thus, the marriage was related to the Nan Gong family's position in the future and could not be neglected. Don't be impatient. Huairo Muyu raised her hand and spoke gently. The resentful guards behind her immediately cupped their fists and retreated. Huairo Muyu's expression was calm. She looked at the people of the Nan Gong family and said gently, Although we are not mortals, we have not transcended the 3 realms and are not in the realm of the 5 elements. Everything has its own conclusion. We are unable to stop it, and we are unable to predict what will happen. For such a situation to occur, Muyu can understand, I am here today to negotiate with young Master Qing and to discuss some matters regarding spirit cultivation. I do not have any other intentions. I hope that uncle who will not mind. Why would I? Niece Muyu is so young, but you have such breadth of mind and vision. Nan Gong who admire you. Nan Gong who laughed, he felt gratified. He never thought that Huairo Muyu would be so understanding. This time, Muyu's brought some gifts. I hope that uncle who can arrange it. Also, young Master Qing is injured and needs treatment. Muyu has a few decent pills. Maybe they can help him recover faster. Niece Muyu is considerate. Bring Niece Muyu to visit Qing. Nan Gonghu said with a smile. Yes, father. The handsome man cupped his fists and laughed, then bowed to Huairo Muyu. Miss Muyu, this way please. Thank you, big brother Gu. Huairo Muyu nodded her head, then moved again. Nan Gonggu was slightly dazed. Looking at the heavenly beauty, his heart could not help but thump. Inside the quiet and luxurious pavilion, Su Yun sat in the center of the array formation with his eyes closed and cultivating. Although Nan Gongqing had left, he had left behind all of the cultivation items and array formations to strengthen himself. It had to be said that all of the items that he used were top-notch. Just like the array formation that he usually used to cultivate, it was actually able to give a cultivator 10 times the amount of profound spirit chi. Cultivating inside the array formation would be 10 times faster than outside, and there were even a series of benefits. Of course, it was not only that. All of the pills in a room were prepared by Nan Gongqing for Su Yun, and he could use them as he pleased. However, Su Yun did not eat them randomly. Although the pills were good, he had to choose what he needed. Su Yun, do you think that Nan Gongqing is trustworthy? Just as Su Yun was cultivating, the sword sheath released a light halo. Following that, Ling Qingyu flew out and stood beside Su Yun. She spoke gently. What is there not to trust? Do you think that he wants to do something to me? With his identity and strength, it is extremely easy for him to find a 5th stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator. He does not need to rely on deception to achieve his goal. Su Yun opened his eyes and said slowly, "You're right, maybe I'm overthinking it, but I still feel that this matter is somewhat preposterous." Ling Qingyu caressed her forehead with a helpless look. Who cares if it is preposterous or not? As long as we can obtain enough cultivation coins to revive Sword Elder, compared to killing people and searching for treasures, cultivation coins are much easier to earn. Isn't that right? Su Yun laughed. That's true, but... Sigh, forget it. I don't care about you. I'm going back to the sword sheath to cultivate. Ling Qingyu snorted, then transformed into a light aura and entered the sword sheath. After Ling Qingyu left, Su Yun continued to cultivate. Although he was only at the 5th stage of the Spirit Star Realm, Su Yun had an advantage that even the people of the ultimate martial world could not compare to, and that was talent. Ignoring the talent that he obtained from the evil realm and Hu Qianmei, just the support of the everlasting stone was already out of anyone's imagination. The people of the ultimate martial world were blessed by the heavens, but the people were still the same people, and that was something that could not be changed. Do-do-do-do. Just then, an urgent but light knocking sound came out from outside the house. Young Noble Su, something bad has happened. Young Noble Su, are you there? The young miss of the Huai-Ro family is here to see you. Xiao Chui anxiously called out. Hearing that, Su Yun stood up and opened the door, only to see the servant Xiao Chui perspiring profusely as she stood outside. Her cultivation was not high, and she was a native of the ultimate martial world and grew up in the Nangong family. It's fine if the young miss of the Huai-Ro family is here. There's no need to panic. Just follow your young Master Qing's instructions. Su Yun said. No, young noble, other than Miss Huai-Ro, there's also young Noble Gu and the other young masters and young misses. They brought Miss Huai-Ro here. If they all come, then it will be bad. Although Miss Huai-Ro has never seen you before, but they see through you, then it will be over. Xiao Chui was so anxious that she was about to cry. Once the matter was exposed, she would definitely be punished. Since it's like that, then quickly close the door to say that I'm currently recuperating and cannot see guests, but Miss Huai-Ro has come from afar and cannot be neglected. Just let her enter the house alone. The rest can wait outside. That's not too good, right? Xiao Chui revealed a troubled look. This will make the other young masters and misses angry, and a single man and woman in a room. If word of this were to spread, then let Miss Huai-Ro's servant accompany her into the house. As for the other young misses and young masters, don't worry. Your young Master Qing will handle them. The most important thing now is to deal with Huai-Ro Muyu. Su Yun said. He would definitely not consider such a matter. Hearing that, Xiao Chui was still worried, but time was of the essence. She did not have much time to think and could only follow the orders. Very quickly, under Nan Gonggu and Nan Gonghongyan's lead, Huai-Ro Muyu and the rest arrived at the quiet courtyard. Nearing the courtyard, Xiao Chui was already waiting. Upon seeing them, she anxiously knelt down. Xiao Chui greets the young masters and misses. Where is Brother Qing? Nan Gonggu asked. Reporting to young Master Gu, young Master Qing is currently recuperating. Xiao Chui replied. When can he not be recuperating? Why must he choose this time? Miss Huai-Ro came from afar. Why can't he meet her? Such a person, what qualifications does he have to be Miss Huai-Ro's fiancé? Nan Gonggu snorted. Quickly go and tell Brother Qing. Tell him to quickly open the door to welcome us. Understand? A lady dressed in luxurious clothing and various accessories spoke out. She had phoenix eyes and a slightly plump figure. Her expression was arrogant. She was Nan Gongqing's cousin, Nan Gong Hongyan. But young master said that he is recuperating and is inconvenient to meet guests. But Miss Huai Ro came from afar and cannot be neglected, so young master said, only Miss Huai Ro and her servant can enter, the other young masters and misses cannot enter. Xiao Chui's entire body was trembling as she spoke. She did not know that she had suddenly become so daring. There were no surprises. When she said those words, all of the Nan Gong family's young masters and misses' faces turned green. It was as though she could see the killing intent in all of their furious eyes, as though she would be devoured by them in the next second. Most of the young ladies on the scene admired Huai Ro Muyu, while the young masters admired the absolute beauty. The young lady had an indescribable aura that could attract anyone around her. But Xiao Chui's words made everyone feel that they had lost face in front of Huai Ro Muyu. How could they not be angry? That despicable Nan Gongqing. Nan Gonggu was the first to be unable to take it. He roared and wanted to rush into the courtyard. Xiao Chui wanted to stop him, but how could her weak body stop him? Everyone. Just then, Huai Ro Muyu called out. Everyone turned to look at Huai Ro Muyu. Everyone, please do not be anxious. Young Master Qing is still injured, as his brothers and sisters. Can't all of you understand him? I hope that everyone can return first after I visit young Master Qing. I will go to the main hall to chat with everyone. Huai Ro Muyu's voice was like a spring breeze that blew into everyone's ears. Her voice seemed to have some sort of magical power. Upon hearing it, the anger in everyone's heart lessened, even the fear in Xiao Chui's heart lessened. Since young Miss Huai Ro has said so, then we will not disturb you. Nan Gonggu laughed, but a trace of jealousy flashed past his eyes. He turned and spoke to Xiao Chui. Tell Nan Gongqing, tell him not to be too pleased. After he finished speaking, he snorted heavily and turned around to leave. The group of people also followed him and left in a scattered manner. When Nan Gonggu and the rest left, Huai Ro Muyu retracted her gaze and walked into the courtyard. Nearing the courtyard's entrance, Xiao Chui immediately went forward and bowed to them, then called out, Young Master, young Miss Huai Ro is here. Whoosh! The door opened. A handsome man dressed in black robes with a pale face walked out. The man had sharp eyebrows and starry eyes. His face was sharp. His hair was long and draped over his shoulders, making him look rather free and at ease. His deep eyes looked at the few ladies outside, then walked out and cupped his fist towards Huai Ro Muyu. Nan Gongqing greets young Miss Muyu. Are you Nan Gongqing? A look of surprise flashed past Huai Ro Muyu's eyes. I am, Su Yun replied. Huai Ro Muyu's servant anxiously circled around Su Yun with a look of shock. Why are you only at the 5th stage of the Spirit Star realm? This isn't right, this isn't right. It is a long story. I invite everyone into the house. Please. The group of them entered the house. Chapter 394. Very quickly, Xiao Chui served them the best fragrant tea. The two of them sat down, and the maid stood guard at the door. Su Yun drank a mouthful of fragrant tea. He glanced at Huai Ro Muyu from the corner of his eyes, only to see her looking at him calmly. Without question, Huai Ro Muyu was a great beauty. She had an oval face, long black hair, skin as white as snow, and exquisite facial features. What was even more unique about her was her temperament. Long Xian Li's beauty was comparable to her, but in terms of temperament, Long Xian Li was slightly weaker, but only slightly. I believe that Miss Muyu has heard from the people in the residence. I went out to train a few days ago, and was about to return yesterday, but unfortunately I met with the powerful spirit beast by Fong, and was attacked by it. I almost lost my life, but with the help of some of the spirit pills and medicines in the residence, I managed to preserve my body, but my spirit essences were heavily injured, and it is difficult to heal them, so I am currently only at the 5th stage of the Spirit Star realm. Su Yun said, according to the lines he had prepared beforehand. How could there be such misfortune? For Miss Muyu to personally visit this lowly one. This lowly one is extremely grateful, but the current Nan Gongqing is already a cripple. His low cultivation is not worthy of Miss Muyu's heavenly beauty. Although we are engaged, this lowly one no longer has the qualifications to be Miss Dual Cultivation Companion, If Miss wishes to dissolve the engagement, this lowly one will not object. Suyin took the opportunity to get straight to the point. No wonder Nan Gongqing requested for a fifth-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator, although such a cultivator would be considered a god in the Sky Martial Continent. But here, no one would even look at him. Break off the engagement? Huairou Muyu's expression was calm. She shook her head gently. Although your cultivation is not strong, but with the wealth of the two families and your talent, it is not difficult to make up for it. This marriage was set by your father and my grandfather. If we were to break it off, I am afraid that it will affect the relationship between the two families. Is Miss Muyu really willing to give herself to me? Muyu is not a person who treats others with strength. Huairou Muyu's expression revealed a trace of concentration. Suyin had a headache. If Huairou Muyu was a martial fanatic like Bai Yin Shan, it would have been easy. He sighed and said helplessly, "We still don't understand each other. Let's talk about this later." Nan Gongqing did not have the authority to break off the engagement. Even if he wanted to, he would have to ask Huairou Muyu, but she seemed to be very open-minded, so he could only take it one step at a time. Although Nan Gongqing said that he would pay 100,000 cultivation coins even if he failed, but after taking someone's money, if he did not do his best, he would feel guilty. Huairou Muyu glanced at Su Yun, but did not reply, and just sat there obediently. Seeing that the atmosphere was cold, Su Yun could not help but ask, "Miss Muyu, what is your purpose for coming to the Nan Gong family?" "I just want to see my future husband." His thinking was quite avant-garde. Su Yun secretly guessed Huairou Muyu's character. He felt that she was not easy to deal with, so he stood up and directly sat in the cultivation array and started to cultivate. "Now that we've met, Miss Muyu, please leave. I need to heal myself." The sudden change in attitude caused Huairou Muyu to be startled, but she maintained her calm expression. She nodded her head. Her expression did not change much. She stood up and bowed to Su Yun. "Since it's like that, I hope that young Master Qing can take care of your body. Muyu will take her leave for now." After that, she turned and left, leaving behind a fragrance. After she left, Xiao Chui anxiously ran in and said softly, "Young noble Su, Miss Muyu has left." "I got it." Su Yin opened his eyes and sighed in his heart. "I never thought that she would not mind my low cultivation. She is truly magnanimous." "Then what do we do now?" Xiao Chui asked anxiously. "Time is of the essence. If Miss Muyu is not willing to break off the engagement, then young Master Qing will truly have to marry Miss Muyu." Su Yin shook his head and said, "Since Huairou Muyu does not mind my low cultivation, there's only one other method left, to make her feel disgusted. Maybe that will work." "Make her feel disgusted? Make her hate you?" "Something like that." Xiao Chui, in this period of time, try to run over to Huairou Muyu and tell me everything about her. "All right. You can go out first. I want to train." "Yes. This servant will take her leave first." Xiao Chui slowly left the house and closed the door. After Xiao Chui left, Su Yun continued to immerse himself in training. With the help of the high-grade Qi restoring array seal, Su Yun did not need to worry about exhausting his spirit Qi. It was a pity that he could not use his fists and legs, and if he wanted to train his sword techniques, he had to leave the Nan Gong residence, which was extremely inconvenient. But what Su Yun cared about the most was not the training of his sword techniques, but the control of Qi. The conversion and control of the frigid aqua spirit Qi in the cold hail sword formation, the control of the pure divine spirit Qi in the limitless sword arts, the distribution of the sub-swords, etc. He understood the pros and cons of his own methods, and even more clearly understood the use of a treasure like the Monarch Occult Force. If he could familiarize himself with the Monarch Occult Force, with the current situation, it would definitely be stronger than him breaking through a stage of cultivation. The time spent cultivating in the house was always short. The sky had already darkened. Xiao Chui returned from Huairou Muyu's place, and after reporting to Su Yun about Huairou Muyu's movements, she leaned on the pillar and rested. But not long later, urgent footsteps came out from outside the courtyard in the silent night. The footsteps were extremely loud. Xiao Chui jumped in fright. She stretched her neck out to look, only to see a few men walking over angrily. It was Nan Gonggu and his subordinates. All of them were extremely fast, and in the blink of an eye, they had reached the entrance of the courtyard. Xiao Chui became anxious. She immediately ran over and knelt down and shouted, "Xiao Chui greets young Master Gu." "Where's your young master?" Nangong Gu asked coldly. Hearing that, Xiao Chui's heart trembled. She stuttered, "Young master, I heard that after this trash was injured, his strength actually dropped to the 5th stage of the Spirit Star realm." "Humph, truly a trash. Not only is he arrogant and rude in the past, he even neglected Miss Huairo today. He is truly despicable. Don't think that I will let him off just because he is injured. Move aside." Nangong Gu snorted. He then pushed Xiao Chui aside and walked into the house. "Young Master Gu! Young Master Gu!" Xiao Chui shouted. But she was a weak lady. How could she stop the powerful cultivators? Nangong Gu shot to the door and pulled it open. At the same time, he shouted, "Nangong Qing, you better come out now. Nangong Qing, you stinking brat, come out right now." Then, the house was extremely quiet. There was no sound at all. Nangong Gu and the rest walked in and circled the house, only to see that there was not a single person in the house. "Where did your young master go?" Nangong Gu stared at Xiao Chui angrily. "Young master, he went out." Xiao Chui shrunk her head and said in fear, "Wasn't he injured?" "About that. Miss Huairo gave him some good medicine today. Young master has recovered by more than half, so he went out." Despicable fellow. Nangong Gu was enraged. "Young Master Gu." Just then, a person by the side called out, "Huh?" Nangong Gu turned to look. The person by the side walked to the erased seal in the center of the house and squatted down. He used his finger to caress the erased seal and said, "This erased seal is still warm. It seems like it was just closed not long ago." Nangong Gu frowned. He roared at Xiao Chui, "What's going on?" "TTT, this servant does not know. Young master seemed to have just left not long ago." Xiao Chui almost fell to the ground. She was so scared that she almost cried. Nangong Gu could not be bothered to argue with the servant. He looked towards the back door of the house. As though he had thought of something, he waved his hand at his subordinates and walked out of the back door. "Young master, could it be that young Master Qing knows that we are here and purposely hid in the forbidden grounds?" Someone asked. "He dares?" "This place is a place created by our ancestors. The patriarch had ordered before. No one is allowed to enter. Anyone who dares to do so will be expelled from the Nangong family. Does Nangong Qing have the guts to barge into the forbidden grounds?" Nangong Gu snorted. "That might not be the case, since no one knows. Even if he enters, no one will know. But young master, what exactly is inside the forbidden grounds? I grew up in a Nangong family, but I have never seen what the forbidden grounds looks like." "That's right. Don't tell me there are some treasures in the forbidden grounds?" "Young master, why don't we?" With that said, the subordinate secretly gave him a look. The meaning was clear. Seeing that, Nangong Gu's face that was distorted from anger calmed down. A look of anticipation surfaced in his eyes. He muttered to himself for a moment, then said softly, "We are going in to find Nangong Qing, understand?" We know." His subordinates immediately replied. Nangong Gu did not say anything and walked towards the forbidden grounds. At that moment, Su Yun, who was inside the forbidden grounds, had long sensed the presence of the group of people using the heavenly scale divine eye. His spirit chi was concealed by the spirit chi emitted by the forbidden grounds, so the other party did not sense him. But if they were to barge into the forbidden grounds, it would be bad. There was nowhere to hide, and if they were to discover him, not only would Nangong Qing fail his mission, he would also be in trouble. Su Yun felt extremely helpless. Nangong Qing and him had never thought that Nangong Gu would actually barge into the forbidden grounds. Seeing that the other party was getting closer and closer, Su Yun's face tensed up. The spirit chi here could conceal his spirit chi, but could not conceal his body. If this continued, he would definitely be sensed. What do I do now? Su Yun's heart tensed up. Suddenly, his gaze turned and landed on the statue in the center of the swamp. Forget it, I'll hide behind the statue first. Su Yun thought, then immediately leapt into the air and jumped behind the statue. But the moment he neared the statue, the sword in the statue's hand suddenly flashed. Following that, An endless amount of dense sword chi exploded out, like a gigantic sword chi tornado with the statue as the center. Not good. Su-Yun's heart jumped. He wanted to retreat. But the commotion seemed to have attracted Nan Gonggu and the rest. They increased their pace and rushed over. The situation was getting more urgent. Su-Yun stared at the dense sword chi tornado. He suddenly thought of something. He clenched his teeth and immediately took out the 7th-tier Imperial equipment. He activated a large amount of divine spirit chi to envelop his body, and then rushed into the statue. Chapter 395. What's going on? Why is it so noisy here? It must be that brat Nan Gongqing. Nan Gonggu and the rest ran over. Nearing the edge of the swamp, they saw a large amount of terrifying sword chi storm surrounding the statue in the center. The storm was like a gigantic round cover that continuously revolved around the statue. The sword concept that seemed to be able to tear through everything pounced towards them, causing them to retreat in fear. What a powerful spirit chi! This spirit chi can easily tear apart a spirit master cultivator. Nan Gonggu stared at the sword chi storm and said, "What's going on? Young master, I can't see that brat Nan Gongqing around. And why is there such a dense sword chi around the statue? Young master, the statue looks strange. The situation doesn't seem good. We should quickly inform second master." A subordinate by the side said softly. But just as he finished speaking, Nan Gonggu slapped him on the head. "Are you an idiot? If you tell my father, wouldn't that be telling him that we trespassed into the forbidden grounds? At that time, you and I will have to bear the consequences." Nan Gonggu said angrily. The subordinate held onto his head and said, "Then, young master, what do we do now? What else can we do? Let's go." Nan Gonggu snorted. He turned and walked out of the forbidden grounds. His footsteps were hurried and filled with hatred. The footsteps gradually went further away. Su-Yun, who was hiding behind the statue, heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. At the moment, a dense wall of true divine spirit chi was revolving around him. The wall blocked the sword chi released by the statue, forming a vacuum that protected Su-Yun. It had to be said, the 7th-tier Imperial equipment was so powerful that it caused people to be speechless. The terrifying sword chi storm was something that Su-Yun could not even imagine. He had heard what Nan Gonggu had said. Even a spirit master cultivator would be easily torn apart by the sword chi, but the 7th-tier Imperial equipment was able to block it so easily. What great a treasure is this? Furthermore, the power in the flag did not seem to be exhausted, as though the true divine spirit chi that was being released was endless and endless. But at least I'm safe. Su-Yun heaved a sigh of relief and was about to leave. But just as he was about to relax his taut nerves, he felt something was wrong. Previously, all of Nan Gonggu's attention was focused on the swamp and did not notice the statue, but at that moment, he realized that behind the statue, there was actually a small array formation with a diameter of 1 m. Su-Yun was in the array formation. The small array formation had already been activated, and an endless amount of mystical Holy Spirit chi floated out from the array formation, continuously entering his body. This is a self-activating formation seal. As long as someone enters, it will be activated. Su-Yun stared at the small array and closed his eyes. He could feel the chi that was being injected into his body from the array seal. In an instant, his heart jumped and his eyes widened. He had a look of surprise on his face. He didn't know what kind of state he was in at the moment, but he could feel that as the aura entered his body, his mind was in an unprecedented state of emptiness. That was a state of great wisdom pretending to be stupid, a state of supreme wisdom. It was as if his eyes, heart, and brain had become one at this moment, and he was able to see through the essence of this flower and tree. He understood what was going on. Talent. At that moment, his talent was rising crazily and had reached an unprecedented level. If his talent was previously 8 times higher than an ordinary person, then it was most likely at least 80 times higher now. Could it be that this array seal can increase my talent? Su-Yun's heart trembled. He stared at the array seal that was gradually turning gold. He hesitated for a moment, then stood up and walked out of the array seal. Slowly, the array seal stopped moving, and became dim, while his mind recovered, and he immediately left the state. So the talent state was not a permanent gift, but something that could only be obtained from the array, and if he was not in the array seal, he would not be able to obtain it. Even so, it is still something that makes me happy. If I train in this array, my cultivation will definitely soar by leaps and bounds, and improve by leaps and bounds. Su Yun thought. He did not waste any more time. He immediately returned to the array and activated it, closing his eyes to meditate. With the protection of the 7th tier Imperial equipment, the sword chi around the statue was like a barrier protecting him. The spirit chi flowed in the chi channels, like a whetstone, constantly grinding the walls of the chi channels, widening it bit by bit. The spirit essences produced spirit chi, and when it reached a certain limit, the spirit essences would spread the spirit seeds, and the spirit seeds would eventually give birth to new spirit essences. Nurturing new spirit essences was the most direct way to increase cultivation, and nurturing new spirit essences required continuous chi circulation, just like the rotation of the sun and moon. Powerful spirit cultivators were able to produce spirit essences from all over their body, and the places with spirit essences were usually very strong because there was spirit chi lingering around them all year round, and when the spirit essences reached their limits, they would begin to devour each other and enter a higher level of existence. With the support of the talent array that was close to 100 times stronger, Su Yun felt that it was extremely easy for him to cultivate, and he could comprehend any obstacles, as though he was standing on the shoulders of a giant and climbing upwards. Not only did it increase his own cultivation, even his enlightenment towards the limitless sword arts had a qualitative leap. The limitless sword arts had a total of 7 swords. The top sword was known as the Sword God. The middle 2 swords were known as the Sword Saints, and the bottom 4 swords were known as the Sword Lords. Su Yun had already gained enlightenment on the 3rd sword, and was currently on the 4th sword. After crossing this hurdle, he would be able to gain enlightenment on the middle 2 swords. The limitless sword arts became more and more difficult to gain enlightenment towards the end. Initially, Su Yun did not understand, but now he understood. The first few swords were just secular swords, and emphasized on using chi to control the swords. The swords were real swords, similar to the immortal sword sect's imperial sword technique. As long as one knew how to use spirit chi to control the swords, it would be fine. But the sword techniques at the end were different. They were using the spirit to control the swords, a true realm where the sword did not have a sword in one's hand, and the sword was in one's heart. It was equivalent to the outer sect entering the inner sect, the difference between outer sect techniques and inner sect techniques. But the Sword Elder had said that the strongest person was only able to gain enlightenment on the lower 4 swords. Su Yun did not believe him. He was afraid that the Sword Ancestor had already gained enlightenment to an extremely high realm, and it was just that the Sword Elder did not know about it. After staying in the Forbidden Grounds for an entire night, it was about time. Su Yun directly took the 7th tier Imperial equipment and left the statue, rushing out of the sword chi storm. He ran towards Nan Gongqing's house. "Young Master Su, where did you go? You scared this servant to death." Upon entering the house, he saw Xiao Chui running over anxiously. Her face was filled with fear. Her eyes were red. It was obvious that she was frightened. Su Yun had disappeared for an entire day, and she was truly frightened. "Oh, I was just hiding in the Forbidden Grounds. I was worried that Nan Gonggu would secretly send people to monitor this place, so I hid there for a while longer." Su Yun laughed and said, "This servant was scared to death by young master." Xiao Chui exhaled and patted her chest. "Other than Huai Romuyu, if anyone else comes, tell them that I am out, and that I will be hiding in the Forbidden Ground for the time being. There are many people in the Nangong residence. If someone sees through us, we will all be dead, so it is better to be cautious." "All right. Then, Xiao Chui, have you found any information regarding Huai Romuyu?" This servant has conversed with Xiao Hong, who is by Miss Huai Ro's side, and have asked about Miss Huai Ro's habits. Xiao Chui told him everything she knew. Su Yun listened quietly, and when Xiao Chui finished, he nodded his head. For the past few days, Huai Romu, you have been extremely quiet in the residence. as though she only moved around in her own courtyard. Unless someone invited her, she would only meet with them. Her way of speaking was very appropriate. She was not angry or angry. She did not even smile. From start to finish, she maintained a calm and collected look. But Xiao Chui heard from Xiao Hong that Huai Romu Yu was a person who loved cleanliness. She seemed to have misophobia and had to change her clothes every day, and it had to be clean. How long does Huai Romu Yu intend to stay here for? I'm not sure, but young master, you have to quickly settle the matters here. If madam and old master come back, it will be bad. Xiao Chui said worriedly. Nan Gongqing could not meet anyone, but he had to meet his parents, right? If the two of them disappeared, it would definitely raise suspicions. Su Yin nodded his head. I understand, Xiao Chui, you guard the house. I'm going to cultivate. Yes, young master. Xiao Chui will take her leave first. Xiao Chui bowed, then left the house and closed the door. Taking the opportunity, Su Yun consolidated the spirit qi that he had cultivated for the day and familiarized himself with the monarch occult force, the everlasting stone, and the other treasures. The array seal behind the sculpture is so mystical. If I do it every day, I will be able to level up again in less than a month. In this world that was blessed by the heavens, cultivation was actually so simple. Thinking about it, Su Yun felt that it was like a dream. It was extremely unreal. Knock, knock, knock. Just then, urgent knocks came out. What is it? Su Yun asked. Young master, Miss Huai Romu Yu's servant Xiao Hong came just now. She said that she is inviting you to participate in the Sky Central City's Pill Furnace Assembly. Young master, how should we reject her? Pill Furnace Assembly. Su Yun stood up and opened the door. He looked at Xiao Chui strangely. What's that? That is the Pill Furnace Assembly that is held once a month by all the pill furnaces in Sky Central City. The assembly gathers the best pill refiners in the entire Sky Central City, and the pill refiners will concoct the mystical pills in front of everyone, and then auction them in front of everyone. The highest bidder wins, and there will always be many rare and good pills, so it always attracts many people to participate. Today, when Miss Huai Ro was chatting with young Master Gu and Miss Hong Yin, she was invited by the few young masters and misses, but Miss Huai Ro suggested for you to participate, so she sent Xiao Hong. Xiao Chui muttered to herself in distress. I definitely can't go. Young Master Gu and the rest grew up with young Master Qing. How can they not recognize young Master Qing's face? If I go, I will be exposed, but if I don't go, I will definitely offend Miss Huai Ro and young Master Gu. What should I do? Xiao Chui was panicking. On the other hand, Su Yun lowered his head and thought for a moment, then said, maybe I should participate. Xiao Chui was stunned. When does the Pill Furnace Assembly begin? 5 o'clock, Sky Central City's West Plaza. Young Master, why you cannot go? If someone finds out that you are not young Master Qing, it will be bad. Xiao Chui anxiously said. She was so anxious that she was about to cry. I have not decided whether to participate or not. I am only saying that maybe. There is still 4 hours until 5 o'clock. It is still early. Go and make a trip to Huai Romu Yu's place. Tell her that I have something to ask of her and invite her over for a chat. Su Yin said. Hearing that, Xiao Chui's mind was filled with perspiration, but seeing that Su Yun's expression was serious, she could only nod her head and run out. Chapter 396. In the quiet courtyard, the door was wide open. Inside the house, in front of a brown wooden tea table that was covered with runes, sat a pale, white, handsome man. The man had his eyes closed, as though he was waiting for someone. After an unknown period of time, young Master Qing, Miss Huai Ro is here. Xiao Chui's voice came out from outside the house. Su Yin opened his eyes and walked out of the house. Seeing Huai Romu Yu standing at the door and looking at him quietly, his face immediately revealed a smile. Miss Huai Ro, quickly come in. Huai Romu Yu nodded her head. She whispered a few words to the servant beside her, then held onto her skirt and walked into the house. As soon as he entered the room, waves of intoxicating fragrance wafted over. The two of them sat down, and Su Yin poured a cup of tea for Huai Romu Yu. Please have some tea. Thank you. Huai Romu Yu nodded her head. She extended her slender fingers to pick up the teacup, but only used her lips to touch the teacup, then placed it down and asked, Xiao Chui said that young Master Qing has something to ask of Mu Yu. I wonder what request young master has. With that said, Su Yun's mouth curled up, revealing a smile. He moved closer to Huai Ro Mu Yu and said, Miss Mu Yu, you and I are about to become dual cultivation companions. Then, with regards to your future husband's request, you should not reject me, right? He's so close to me, he is so rude. Huai Ro Mu Yu frowned, but her face did not reveal any disgust. She nodded her head gently and said, The matter of us being together is the wish of the elders of both families. Mu Yu will not reject it. As companions, we have to help each other. If young Master Qing has any requests, feel free to speak. Hearing that, Su Yun looked left and right, then said softly, Actually, it isn't anything difficult. I heard that the Huai-Ro family is a merchant family with countless treasures. Since we are about to become husband and wife, I will not hide anything from you. In truth, when I went out to train, I obtained a treasure. It is extremely powerful, and many spirit cultivators have fantasized about it. As the saying goes, an innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. After obtaining this treasure, I have been living in fear and do not dare to wear it, because if I were to carry it, I will definitely be watched by others. And with my current low cultivation, if others were to know that I have it, I am afraid that my life will be in danger. Oh, I see. Huai-Ro Mu Yu blinked her eyes and looked at Su Yun. Then, young Master Qing, what did you obtain? 9 Emperor Seal. Never heard of it. The Huai-Ro clan has many treasures. Although this item is a treasure to me, it might not be able to enter your eyes. Huai-Ro Mu Yu did not say anything else. She hesitated for a moment, then asked, What does young Master Qing wish for me to do for you? I want to borrow a magic treasure that can conceal the aura of my certificate of qualifications and my magic treasure. Aren't you going to participate in the alchemy conference tonight? With this, I dare to go out. Su Yun revealed an awkward smile. Oh, Huai-Ro Mu Yu revealed a look of understanding. No wonder young Master Qing isn't willing to meet your brothers and sisters, and only me, so you're afraid. Miss Mu Yu is truly intelligent, but I don't sense the aura of that treasure on you. I placed the magic treasure in the forbidden area behind the house. The aura of the forbidden area can conceal the magic treasure's aura. So it's like that. Huai-Ro Mu Yu nodded her head, then said, My Huai-Ro family truly has many treasures, countless of them. I also have the treasure that you want. Since it's like that, I will get Xiao Hong to send it over later. Mu Yu, you're truly too good to me. Su Yun pretended to be excited and immediately grabbed on a Huai-Ro Mu Yu's soft and weak hands. In that moment, Su Yun felt as though his rough hands were holding onto a piece of silk. It was extremely smooth and tender, causing him to be unable to let go. Huai-Ro Mu Yu was startled for a moment, then anxiously retracted her hands. But Su Yun did not have any intention to let go. Instead, he looked at Huai-Ro Mu Yu with a passionate gaze. He chuckled softly, then suddenly retracted his hands and pulled Huai-Ro Mu Yu into his embrace. Huai-Ro Mu Yu was the proud daughter of the Huai-Ro family. When had she ever received such treatment? She regained her senses and anxiously pushed Su Yun away. She stood up and stared at him cautiously. Young Master Qing, please conduct yourself with dignity. What dignity? You're about to become mine. This shouldn't be too much, right? Su Yun asked suspiciously, then continued to shamelessly hug Huai-Ro Mu Yu. But he was only a 5th-stage spirit star realm cultivator. How could he be rough with Huai-Ro Mu Yu? Huai-Ro Mu Yu raised her snow-white hands and gently pressed onto Su Yun's chest. Su Yun's entire being immediately flew out and smashed onto the cabinet behind him. He rolled down, looking extremely miserable. He tried his best to crawl up. There were a few scars on his face. The cabinet was also a treasure, and when Su Yun crashed into it, the spirit chi contained within the cabinet was forced out and splashed onto his face, causing his entire face to be covered in blood. Seeing that, Huai-Ro Mu Yu frowned. She walked over and was about to help treat Su Yun, but Su Yun covered his face and said with a gloomy look, Mu Yu, what are you doing? It's just a hug. We're about to become husband and wife. Could it be that I'm not allowed to do that? Although the marriage is set, we are not married yet, before we get married, you and I need to treat each other with respect and do not overstep our boundaries. Muyu has always followed the rules and will definitely not do anything that goes against common sense. Before we get married, I hope that young Master Qing can be self-disciplined. Huairou Muyu said calmly. Why are you so conservative? After we get married, will you be able to practice dual cultivation with me? We'll talk about the future in the future. Huairou Muyu's face flushed red. She said softly, Young Master Qing, I had no choice just now. Let me treat you. No need, I will settle it myself. Sigh, this is truly depressing. Su Yin crawled up. He could not be bothered with Huairou Muyu and walked toward the back of the hall. Huairou Muyu looked at him quietly, but did not say anything. Young Master Qing, are you feeling better? Almost. Since it's like that, then Muyu will take her leave first. I will send someone to bring you the treasure that you need later. Sai, thank you. Goodbye. With that, Huairou Muyu turned and walked away. After Huairou Muyu left, Su Yun's face immediately calmed down. The ruffian look from before disappeared without a trace. Xiao Chui anxiously ran in. Seeing that Su Yun's face was covered in blood, she jumped in fright and immediately ran to find medicine. No need to trouble yourself, Xiao Chui. Although my cultivation is not high, such injuries are nothing to a 5th-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator. I just need to use some spirit chi to heal them. Su Yun smiled and said, Young master, what's going on? Xiao Chui asked with a sullen face. I want to make a move on Huairou Muyu to make her think that Nangong Qing is a lecherous person, to increase her hatred towards Nangong Qing and force her to break off the engagement. In the end, this Huairou Muyu is rather patient. Then your injuries? I purposely forced her into a corner and made her attack me. I purposely created this injury with the goal of allowing me to wear a hat to cover my face to participate in the pill refining assembly. Su Yin smiled. Wearing a hat out of nowhere would make people suspicious, but with Huairou Muyu's face injury as an excuse, he believed that no one would say anything. Su Yin did not dare use the shapeshift bone piece to change Nangong Qing's appearance to participate in the pill refining assembly, since the Nangong Qing the Huairou Muyu knew was different from the Nangong Qing that the Nangong family knew. But luckily, Nangong Qing had left behind a treasure that could change his voice, as long as his voice was the same. Most people wouldn't pay attention to a little treasure like a voice changer. Must I participate in that alchemy conference? Wouldn't it be better if he didn't participate? Xiao Chui said worriedly. We don't have much time left. I've been staying in this house all day. Huairou Muyu and I rarely interact. I'm unable to make a move. Since I want to force her to break off the engagement, I have to take the initiative. This pill refining conference is a good opportunity. Su Yin said, when Nangong Qing's parents return, it will be terrible, so I need to quickly end this before anything else happens. In any case, Su Yin did not have any misgivings. If he failed, he could just run. Xiao Chui nodded, looking as if she understood. Very quickly, night fell. The night sky of the ultimate martial world was different from the sky martial continent. There were 3 moons in the sky, thus the night was not too dark. Su Yin, who had just returned from the Forbidden Grounds, felt refreshed as he returned to the house. Xiao Chui had long prepared a hat with an extremely low brim for him, as well as the treasure that Huairou Muyu had sent Xiao Hong to send over that could conceal his cultivation and items. It was a pair of jade-colored wrist guards with the 2 words Longzhen carved on it, and 2 male tiger tattoos. According to Xiao Hong, the wrist guards were Saint rank wrist guards and could conceal everything, including the proof of qualifications. As for what level of existence could see through the wrist guards to check the owner's cultivation, that was unknown. But what caused Su Yin to be extremely shocked was that Huairou Muyu was actually so generous to actually lend him a Saint rank treasure. Saint rank. Su Yin stared at the wrist guards, his mind completely blank. He had imagined countless of scenarios where he would obtain a Saint rank treasure, but he had never thought that someone would directly lend it to him. Is this the difference between the ultimate martial world and the sky martial continent? Su Yin muttered. After equipping the wrist guards and wearing the black and white hat, Su Yin directly headed towards the main hall of the Nangong residence, where Huairou Muyu and the rest were waiting for him. Seeing Su Yun's exaggerated attire, the servants and maids on the road were all surprised. If not for the order badge on his waist and the attire of Nangong Qing, many of them would not have recognized him. After all, the hat was too low and covered half of his face. Inside the hall, Nangong Gu was constantly chatting with Huai Romuyu, but Huai Romuyu's expression remained calm. She did not reveal any passion, nor did she reveal any trace of coldness. She advanced and retreated appropriately, causing Nangong Gu to be at a loss. "Why isn't Nangong Qing here yet?" Nangong Hong Yin said unhappily. "We actually have so many people waiting for him here." "Seriously? Forget about us. The main thing is that he actually made our esteemed guest, Miss Huairo, wait for him here. It is truly infuriating. Such a person does not have the demeanor of a gentleman at all." "That's right," the other Nangong family disciples said. All of them had been together with Nangong Gu for a long time and naturally understood Nangong Gu's thoughts. Compared to Nangong Qing, they were more inclined towards Nangong Gu, and their words unknowingly leaned towards Nangong Gu. Hearing that, Nangong Gu nodded his head. He looked at Huai Romuyu, only to see that she did not say anything, causing him to be disappointed. "My apologies, I'm late." Just then, a voice came out from the entrance of the hall, and a figure walked in. Chapter 397. Hearing this voice, everyone looked towards the door at the same time and saw a man wearing a low hat walk in. The brim of the hat was lowered, and there was a decorative golden curtain pattern on the brim. People could only vaguely see his face, but not his full appearance. However, based on his clothes and token, everyone knew who he was. "Nangong Qing, you bastard. You actually made Miss Huairo wait for an entire hour." Nangong Gu was the first to stand up and scolded without any restraint. If Nangong Qing was still the Nangong Qing of the past, maybe he would have some misgivings, but now he did not. He was extremely jealous of Nangong Qing and Huai Romuyu becoming dual cultivation companions. He knew that the seed of jealousy in his heart had already sprouted, and this seed was born because of Nangong Qing. He had never gotten along with Nangong Qing in the past, but because Nangong Qing was the son of the patriarch and was not weaker than him, he did not say anything. Now that Nangong Qing's cultivation was crippled and became so weak, what was there for him to be afraid of? And Huai Romuyu's appearance had increased his jealousy and hatred towards Nangong Qing. "If my father becomes the patriarch, the one to marry Huai Romu, you will definitely be me." Nangong Gu thought fiercely in his mind. "Did I ask you to wait? If you don't like it, you can leave first." Su Yin said indifferently. "You." Nangong Gu was furious. "Hey, Nangong Qing, what are you wearing? Why are you covering your face? Could it be that you can't show your face?" Nangong Hong Yin, who was dressed in purple, snorted. "About that, you have to ask Muyu." Su Yin glanced at Huai Romuyu. Everyone was startled. They turned to look at Huai Romuyu. She had her eyes closed, her long eyelashes trembling slightly, and said slowly, "In the afternoon, when I was chatting with young Master Qing, I accidentally injured his face. The injury on my face has not healed, so I wore a hat to cover it." Su Yin laughed. "Chatting? How did you injure your face?" One of the Nangong disciples asked. "This involves the privacy between me and Mu Yu." "Haha, it's fine as long as everyone knows it. There's no need to say it out loud." Su Yin glanced at Nangong Gu and revealed a smile that all men understood. Nangong Gu was startled for a moment. He suddenly understood something. His eyes flashed with a swoosh. A dense fire of jealousy surged in his eyes. He secretly clenched his fists tightly. He wanted to rush up and punch Nangong Qing. "Cousin, you and Miss Huairo are not married yet. Be careful when you do things, lest others gossip," Nangong Hongyin said with a sharp voice. "What are you afraid of? Other than the Feng clan in Sky Central City, who else would dare to go against us?" Su Yin had a fearless look on his face. "Cousin brother, you have to understand your current situation. You're only at the 5th stage of the Spirit Star realm. Your fighting strength is not even 1,000. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue by saying that?" Nangong Gu said softly, "I'm not afraid of that. In the future, when Muyu and I get married, we will dual cultivate. My cultivation will definitely increase crazily." Su-yin laughed. When he said that, everyone in the hall were dumbstruck. None of them expected Su-yin to be so direct. Cousin brother, why you? How can you say such words in front of Miss Huai-ro? Nangong Hung-yin was tongue-tied. Huai-ro Muyu frowned, but did not say a word. But everyone had different expressions. Some of them were embarrassed, while others revealed looks of envy toward Su-yin. Su-yin secretly glanced at her expression, then laughed. Cousin sister, what's wrong with that? It has always been like that, and Muyu's family is so rich, it is not difficult for them to groom me. So you guys don't have to worry about it, all right? Without waiting for Su-yin to finish, Huai-ro Muyu suddenly stood up and interrupted him. Nangong-gu was happy. He looked over, only to see that Huai-ro Muyu had an unnatural expression. It's about time, everyone. Let us go to the northern plaza. Huai-ro Muyu said gently, and walked out of the hall without turning back. Sai Muyu. Su-yin pretended to call out a few times, but Huai-ro Muyu ignored him. Seeing that, Nangong-gu immediately followed. When the others saw Su-yin's deflated expression, they all thought that he deserved it. Huai-ro Muyu's temper was truly not bad, but it depended on the situation. Su-yin's explicit words were already something that Huai-ro Muyu could not accept, but she never thought that he would actually say it in front of so many young people. How could she bear it? But that was what Su-yin wanted. When the group of them left the main hall, Su-yin followed behind and headed out of the Nangong residence. Because they were participating in a large gathering, there was not much ostentation. Nangong-gu only ordered the butler to arrange for a few guards to follow them, and the group of them left the residence and headed towards the northern plaza. On the way, Nangong-gu continued to converse with Huai-ro Muyu, completely ignoring Nangong-ching. Currently, other than Nangong-ching's identity, there was nothing worth paying attention to. When the news of Nangong-ching being injured and his cultivation dropping to the 5th stage of the Spirit Star Realm spread through the entire Nangong residence, it had truly caused a huge uproar. Nangong, who had brought people to see him, but was rejected by Su-yin, but Huai-ro Muyu had confirmed the news. Luckily, Nangong-ching had good relations with the Nangong family. Most of the people in the residence would only feel pity for him. Only Nangong-gu and the rest were rejoicing in his misfortune. Miss Muyu, this street is the most famous street in our Sky's central city. The shops on this street are all top-notch shops. All of them were invested and opened by almighty beings, and it is common to meet powerful existences on this street. I remember once I met a Sky Spirit Master almighty being. It truly scared me. That aura, that demeanor, it is truly unforgettable. Nangong-gu spoke with an exaggerated expression, as though he was hoping to attract the attention of the beautiful lady. But Huai-ro Muyu remained calm as she looked ahead, as though she was not interested in Nangong-gu's words. Su-yin naturally felt comfortable seeing Nangong-gu suffer. After all, he did not have any good feelings towards Nangong-gu. If Nangong-gu treated him better, maybe he would have taken the initiative to matchmake Huai-ro Muyu with him. But Nangong-gu always had an expression of hatred, so Su-yin could not be blamed. Su-yin walked over and forcefully pushed Nangong-gu and Huai-ro Muyu aside. He then grabbed onto Huai-ro Muyu's cold hands and walked forward without a change in expression. Nangong-ching, what are you doing? Nangong-gu was annoyed. What am I not doing? Su-yin said. Then why aren't you letting go of Miss Huai-ro's hands? Nangong-gu said angrily. There are too many people here. I am afraid that Miss Huai-ro will get lost. Su-yin laughed. He secretly glanced at Huai-ro Muyu's face and realized that there was a look of disgust on her face, which made him happy. As expected, Huai-ro Muyu suddenly retracted her hands, her charming face revealing a trace of coldness. Young Master Ching, Muyu is not joking with you. Please do not do such frivolous and disrespectful actions. Huai-ro Muyu's voice was no longer gentle, but had become slightly cold. Su-yin knew that he had already touched Huai-ro Muyu's bottom line. If he continued, she would definitely explode. Although she seemed to be very daring, she had a conservativeness that was hard to detect. She had always followed the wishes of her elders and silently adhered to her own principles, never daring to overstep them. Hearing that, Su-yin pretended to be embarrassed. He laughed and did not say anything else. Nangong-ching, I advise you to be more well-behaved and not touch Miss Muyu anymore. Nan Gonggu grabbed onto Su Yun's collar and said sinisterly, "She is my fiancée. What are you worrying about?" Su Yun said indifferently. "You," Nan Gonggu said angrily. "I am worried that you will throw the face of our Nan Gong family. Do you understand? Thank you for your concern. I will take note." Under the brim of the hat, Su Yun's expression was extremely calm. Nan Gonggu could not vent his anger. He clenched his teeth. He could only fiercely shake off Su Yun and turn to walk towards Huai Romuyu. "Idiot!" Su Yun shook his head. He patted the wrinkles on his clothes and continued walking. "Cousin brother, are you all right?" Just as Su Yun was following behind the group, a voice came out from beside him. He turned his head to look, only to see a lady dressed in blue robes beside him. She was extremely beautiful. With makeup on her face, she was rather good-looking. Su Yun remembered that Nan Gongqing had secretly introduced her to him before. She was called Zhang Yingli, the daughter of Nan Gongqing's uncle. Since young, she had lived in the Nan Gong family and received the nurturing of the Nan Gong family, but she was not close to Nan Gongqing. Instead, she was with Nan Gonggu. Nan Gongqing thought that Zhang Yingli had a good impression of Nan Gonggu. "I'm fine," Su Yun casually replied. Zhang Yingli replied with an "oh," then glanced at Huai Romuyu and asked, "Cousin brother, do you have a good impression of Miss Huai Romuyu? Aren't you talking nonsense?" Su Yun chuckled. "Such a beauty, which man would not have a good impression of her?" "Oh, really?" Hearing that, Zhang Yingli revealed an obvious look of disappointment. She bit her lips and said, "Do you men always judge a book by its cover? How is Huai Romuyu good?" "That is hard to explain." Su Yun glanced at her. Zhang Yingli's face suddenly turned red. She asked softly, "Then, cousin brother, in your heart, between me and Miss Huai Romuyu, who do you think is better?" "About the same," Su Yun replied. He did not want to cause any trouble. Truly perfunctory. Zhang Yingli was obviously unhappy with his answer. There were more and more people on the streets. All sorts of profound spirit qi were mixed together, forming a mystical smell. Su Yun pressed down on the brim of his hat and looked around. In the distance, there was a gigantic door. In front of the door stood 2 rows of cultivators dressed in the same attire. They were constantly nodding and bowing to the guests with smiles on their faces. Sizing them up, they were all 6-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivators with fighting strength close to 1,000. I wonder if it's an irony. These people are actually so lowly in this world. Every world is truly different. "Oh, it's the Nan Gong family's esteemed guests. Ayaya, isn't this the young miss of the Huai Ro family? Quick, please come in. My master has already prepared the esteemed guest seats for everyone. Please come in." When a manager at the door saw the group of people walking over, his eyes lit up and he immediately ran over to greet them. The group of people were brought by the steward to the VIP seats in the center of the plaza and sat down. There were many existences that came one after another. Among them, there were many with fighting strength of 2,000. Su Yun did not know what cultivation level a person with fighting strength of 2,000 was, but without a doubt, their qi was so terrifying that even approaching them would cause people to tremble. Chapter 398. The entire northern plaza was filled with over 10,000 people. It was a grand and bustling scene, but the VIP seats were relatively quieter. Only people with status in Sky Central City could sit there. Not only were there enchantments to isolate spirit qi, there were even delicious desserts that could increase one's cultivation, and to spirit master cultivators and above. The increase in cultivation from the desserts was negligible. But Su Yun did not care about it. His cultivation was low, and the desserts were extremely beneficial to him. One would cost at least a few cultivation coins outside. It would be a waste if he did not eat it. He immediately started eating, not caring about his image. Seeing Su Yun wolfing down the food, the Nan Gong family people all frowned. "Cousin brother, eat slowly." Zhang Yingli secretly looked at Nan Gonggu and said helplessly, Hey, are those people from the Nan Gong family?" "Yes." "Who is that lady sitting beside Nan Gongqing? Her beauty is truly unparalleled." "Friend, don't speak nonsense. That lady is the daughter of the Huai Ro family. She is extremely delicate. The daughter of the Huai-Ro family? Why are the people from the Huai-Ro family here in Sky Central City? Is it because of the Nan Gong family? It is said that the daughter of the Huai-Ro family and Nan Gong young master Nan Gong Qing are engaged. Huai-Ro Mu has a strong personality and wants to interact with her future dual cultivation partner if she is not satisfied. Maybe she will break off the engagement. Since the current Huai-Ro family is like the sun in the sky, it is easy for them to break off the engagement. The Nan Gong family will definitely not say no. Sigh. That's true. Recently, the Nan Gong family had news that Nan Gong Qing was heavily injured by the Bai Fong and almost lost his life. Even his cultivation is only at the 5th stage of the spirit star realm. With his cultivation, is he worthy of the young miss of the Huai-Ro family? What? 5th stage of the spirit star realm? Isn't that the same as trash? That's right. Young Master Qing is a good person. He does not put on airs with us wild cultivators. How did such a person meet with such a calamity? That's right. I even drank with him the last time. The people who were participating in the pill concoction conference started to discuss softly. Just then, a commotion broke out at the entrance of the pill concoction conference, causing everyone to turn to look, only to see a group of young men and women walking over. It's the Fong clan. The Fong family is here too? Hee. The Fong clan and the Nangong clan have never been on good terms. Perhaps there will be a good show to watch today. At the front of the group of men and women from the Fong family was Fong Mo Chong, who had forbidden Su Yun from entering the Fong residence. With a smile on his face, he raised his hand to greet the people around him. However, his gaze ultimately fell on the Nangong family. Su Yun swallowed the crystal jade fruit in his mouth and casually looked at Fong Mo Chong, a cold intent flashing past his eyes. That man, he was a person who cared about gratitude and grudges. He had never forgotten the humiliation that Fong Mo Chong had given him in front of the Fong residence. But he was not an impulsive person and did not have the strength to provoke Fong Mo Chong. Is this the Huai-Ro family's beauty, Miss Huai-Ro Muyu? Fong Mo Chong had already noticed the quiet Huai-Ro Muyu. He immediately walked over and greeted Huai-Ro Muyu. I am Fong Mo Chong. I greet Miss Huai-Ro. Huai-Ro Muyu stood up and returned the greeting, then said lightly, This is the first time I have met young noble Fong. How did young noble Fong know that I am Huai-Ro Muyu? Ha 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 ha, what's so difficult about that? A gem dropped into a pile of rotten rocks. How can I not recognize it? Fong Mo Chong laughed out loud. With that said, the people of the Nangong family all stood up in unison, their anger soaring to the heavens. Asshole, you dare to call us rotten rocks? Fong Mo Chong, are you provoking us? Nangong Gu said coldly. Provoking? Does that count? Unless you admit that you are a pile of rotten rocks. Fong Mo Chong snorted. You asshole. Nangong Gu's anger soared, and he was about to brandish out his weapon. Hey, I say, young Master Fong, you dare to insult my Muyu as a rock? This is intolerable. Just then, an enraged roar came out from the side. Fong Mo Chong turned to look to see a man wearing a hat with his face obscured, throwing away the green-colored fruit in his hand. He suddenly stood up and pointed at Fong Mo Chong's nose and scolded. Other than Fong Ling Sheng, who the hell are the rest of your Fong family? To actually dare to behave so atrociously here? And you even dare to insult my future wife? Does your Fong family wish to be removed from the Sky Central City? Fong Mo Chong was startled for a moment. He noticed the nameplate on the man's waist, and then reacted. You are Nangong Qing? That is me, your father. Ha! Young Master Nangong, I heard that you're only a 5th stage spirit star realm cultivator. You have already become trash, and you still dare to speak so arrogantly? You want my Fong family to be removed from the Sky Central City? You can't do that. Fong Mo Chong chuckled. Can the Huai-Ro family do that? Su Yun said coldly. Fong Mo Chong frowned. Su Yun snorted. You insulted Mu Yu as a rock. Isn't that insulting her body as a rock? Her head as a rock? Isn't that insulting the Huai-Ro family? Mu Yu, how can you tolerate that? Let us go back now and inform your father and grandfather about this. It is only a matter of time before the Huai-Ro family destroys the Fong family. Hearing that, Feng Mo Chong immediately perspired in cold sweat. He never expected Su Yun to be so exaggerated. He immediately spoke to Huai Ro Mu Yu. Miss Huai Ro, I do not have the intention to insult the Huai Ro family. Before Feng Mo Chong could finish, Su Yun interrupted him. A gem isn't a rock? Even a rock can be a rotten rock, right? So a gem is the same as a rotten rock. Isn't that an insult? You are obviously trying to change the concept. Feng Mo Chong was furious. Seeing that Su Yun was using sophistry, he did not want to continue arguing with him. He immediately shifted everyone's attention and bellowed. Nan Gong Qing. Today, I will teach your Nan Gong family a lesson. With that, he prepared to take action. Seeing that, the Nan Gong family people immediately squeezed over and prepared to take action. The entire scene was tense. The organizers did not dare to interfere. No matter who they provoked, they would be in trouble and could only watch anxiously. Everyone, please stop. Just then, Huai Romu Yu spoke out. Seeing that, everyone had to give her some face. Furthermore, they did not want to cause trouble in public, so they retreated. For Miss Huai Ro's sake, I will not bicker with you, Feng Mo Chong said coldly. He then cupped his fists towards Huai Romu Yu and returned to his seat. Consider yourself lucky today, Nan Gong Hong, Yin shouted. Both parties dispersed. The pill refining conference had yet to begin, but both parties were already like fire and water. A few people were already looking forward to it. The entire place was buzzing with activity, but most of the people were not talking about the pill refining conference, but about the grudges between the two families. The time had arrived. The managers of the 100 pill shops in Sky Central City had already arrived, and in the center of the Northern Plaza, there were 100 pill furnaces placed there. Every single furnace had an extremely skilled pill refiner. Some of the pills that required a few days to be refined had already been refined in the furnaces half a month ago, while the pills that required a few hours to be refined had already been concocted. The air was filled with waves of fragrance, causing the spectators to be intoxicated. The most authoritative pill refiner in the entire Sky Central City, Lan Song-yin, would be in charge of the evaluation this time. He would appraise every single pill, and the pills that were refined would be auctioned off to the highest bidder. Many people had prepared their cultivation coins and planned to find a pill that was suitable for them. The white-haired Lan Song-yin, dressed in a light yellow robe, walked into the center of the cauldrons with his walking stick. He looked around and shouted with a hoarse voice, "Thank you all esteemed guests for coming. I am Lan Song-yin, and I hereby officially announce that Sky Central City's 9,358th Alchemy Conference has officially begun." With that said, a light aura blossomed from the center. The dazzling light aura shot out in all directions, attracting everyone's attention. A furnace was opened. The intoxicating fragrance pervaded out. Now, the first pill for the pill refining conference has been released. The pill refiner is the middle-ranked pill refiner from the Nine Moon Pill Furnace Workshop, Zhang Yexan. This pill is called Armor-Breaking Pill. It is not meant to be consumed by oneself, but to be used on the opponent during a battle. It is extremely simple to use by crushing it into powder and striking the opponent's body. It will cause the opponent's body to be unable to be covered by spirit chi, and it can also disrupt the spirit chi in the opponent's body, causing the opponent's strength to drop greatly. Regardless of whether it's humans or beasts, is an essential item for cultivators. According to my estimation, this pill is worth at least 300 cultivation coins. So we will start the auction with 300 cultivation coins, and the highest bidder will win. Everyone, please start bidding, Lan Song-yin said slowly. With that said, the entire place immediately became clamorous. As though a pot of oil had been opened, it was boiling. All sorts of bids came out, but the amount was rather small. 310, 320, 350, 400. Su Yun glanced at the pill, then moved his face closer to Huai Ro Mu Yu and said, "Mu Yu, we are about to become husband and wife. Shouldn't you do something for your future husband?" Huh? Huai Ro Mu Yu tilted her head to look at Su Yun. She could faintly see the disgusting smile under the hat. "This armor-breaking pill looks good, but I don't have that many cultivation coins. Since your Huai Ro family is so rich, why don't you buy it for me?" Su Yun said shamelessly. Hearing that, Everyone became tongue-tied and looked at Su Yun in shock. In an auction, most people would think of throwing out a huge sum of money to win the smile of the beauty, but young Master Ningong was strange. Not only did he not fork out any money, he even asked his fiancée to help him purchase the items. What's in this guy's head? Nangong Hong, Yin could not help but curse. Humph, he is truly throwing the face of our Nangong family. Nangong Gu said coldly. Young Master Ching, you don't have to do this, right? This is not a question of whether you want face or not, but Miss Huai Ro's face. What's wrong with young Master Ching recently? He feels weird. The disciples of the Nangong family could not help but ask. Zhang Yingli's face was slightly unhappy. She grabbed onto Su Yun's arm and shook it. Cousin brother, if you want the pill, I will buy it for you, okay? Why are you begging an outsider? When she marries over, she won't be an outsider anymore. Su Yun said. Humph. Zhang Yingli pouted. Her face was unhappy. Huai Romu Yu turned her head. Her eyes focused on Su Yun, her face revealing a trace of seriousness. She said gently, Young Master Ching, are you serious? Of course. Su Yun nodded his head. Huai Romu Yu thought for a moment, then nodded to the servant beside her. Seeing that, the servant was enraged. She glared at Su Yun fiercely, then stood up and shouted, Our family's young miss will fork out 10,000 cultivation coins. With that said, the entire hall was shocked. 10,000 cultivation coins. Who is so extravagant? It's Miss Huai Romu Yu. Miss Huai Romu Yu will fork out 10,000 cultivation coins. Too shocking. The buzzing sounds of discussions could not be heard. Many pairs of shocked eyes looked at Huai Romu Yu. The pill refiner who refined the armor-piercing pill was already smiling from ear to ear. 10,000 cultivation coins. He would be able to get at least 4,000. The armor-piercing pill together with the cost of the ingredients was not more than 400 cultivation coins. It was truly a huge profit. But what was even more shocking was Huai Romu Yu's wealth. 10,000 cultivation coins was not a small amount. Many people did not even have that much wealth, but Huai Romu Yu did not even frown, showing how rich the Huai Ro family was. In this world, money was power, and with money, one could have everything. Without any suspense, the first pill was obtained by Huai Romu Yu, but she did not even look at it, and handed it over to Su Yun through Xiao Hong. Thank you, my future wife. Su Yun laughed shamelessly, then kept the pill into his storage ring. What kind of person is he? Xiao Hong snorted and stood at the side angrily. Is Nangong Qing so pleased that he forgot himself? To actually do such a thing, truly unsightly. Feng Imo Chong sneered as he secretly spoke to the people beside him. This man truly has no sense of shame. After the first pill was sold, not long after, the second pill was produced. The first pill was sold like a raging fire, causing Lan Song Yin to be extremely happy, and started to introduce the second pill. Clear Cave Pill, made from Yuan Dong water, congealing ointment, jade flask spirit bee's heart, 3-Tai ancient flower, and a few other precious ingredients mixed with a 3 true fire to create it. After consuming it, it can increase a person's cultivation by 10 years. Starting price is 5,000 cultivation coins. Hearing that, Su Yun's eyes lit up. He turned and called out, Mu Yu. Chapter 399. Borrowing the relationship between the two of them, Su Yun started to take advantage of them, and made Huai Romu Yu buy a few practical pills. Huai Romu Yu's expression was calm, but Su Yun could already see the disgust in her eyes. I believe that no matter which lady meets someone as thick-skinned as Su Yun, they will not have any good feelings towards him, right? Of course, Su Yun did not dare to be too excessive. If he made Mu Yu buy every single pill, it would seem to be intentional, and it would make people suspicious. Su Yun kept all the pills. He counted them and kept them all into his storage ring. Once he returned to the Nangong family, he would consume the pills at the altar. I never thought that doing this task for Nangong Qing would give me some extra benefits. Su Yun thought. Young Master Qing. Just as Su Yun was celebrating in his heart, Huai Romu Yu suddenly called out. What's wrong, Mu Yu? Su Yun asked. You don't have cultivation coins on you? I don't have the habit of bringing money. Furthermore, aren't you rich? Su Yun laughed. Have you always been like this? Huai Romu Yu's eyes drooped, and she asked gently. That's right. Su Yun pretended to be lazy and replied, but he knew in his heart that he had achieved his goal. Huai Mu Yu did not speak anymore. She quietly looked at the pill furnaces in the center for a moment, then suddenly turned her head and spoke to Xiao Hong, who was beside her. She then stood up and spoke to Nan Gonggu and the rest. Everyone, Mu Yu suddenly feels unwell. I will not be staying for long. I hope that everyone can enjoy yourselves. Mu Yu will take her leave first. I am sorry. Miss Huai, what's wrong? The gathering is not over yet. Why are you leaving already? What's wrong, Miss Huai? Do you not have anything you like? The people of the Nan Gong family were all confused. They were completely confused. I am fine. I just feel a little tired. I want to go back and rest. All right, everyone. Huai will take her leave. Huai Mu Yu gently nodded her head, then turned and left. Huai Mu Yu's departure attracted the attention of many people. Their gazes followed her departure, and a few people started to guess the reason for her departure. Without Huai Mu Yu, his sugar daddy, Su Yun had no meaning to continue staying and was about to leave. But just then, Huai Mu Yu's servant Xiao Hong blocked his path. Xiao Hong handed over a gold card and said coldly, "Young Master Qing, this is the storage card that young Miss gave you." Storage card? Su Yun was startled. Was it something more advanced than the storage bag and storage ring? There are 200,000 cultivation coins sealed inside. Young Miss has instructed, young Master Qing, you can buy whatever you want, consider it her kind intentions. Take it, humph. After Xiao Hong finished speaking, she forcefully stuffed the storage card into Su Yun's hands, turned around, and ran away with a face full of anger. Su Yun frowned. Looking at the gold card in his hand, he felt that something was wrong. He turned around and realized that many people were looking at him, and Nan Gonggu was staring at him with a murderous gaze. It was as if he had unknowingly become the villain. Su Yun clenched the gold card. Feeling that the meeting was boring, he turned and left the northern plaza, heading back to the Nangong residence. The main purpose of participating in the pill refining conference was to make Huai Mu Yu hate Nangong Qing, and it was obvious that Su Yun had succeeded. However, the 200,000 cultivation coins that Huai Mu Yu had given him made Su Yun feel guilty. Although Su Yun liked money, this kind of inexplicable money made him a little disgusted. "Excuse me, are you young Master Nangong Qing?" Just as Su Yun was about to leave and return to the Nangong residence, a voice suddenly came out from behind him. Turning around, he saw a green hat servant who did not have any cultivation asking him respectfully. Su Yun was puzzled. "It's me, what's wrong?" "About that, young master, please follow me. My young master wishes to see you." "Who is your young master?" "He said that you will know once you see him." The servant laughed. "You're still keeping me in suspense? I won't see you." Su Yun immediately rejected. He was currently impersonating Nangong Qing. How could he meet anyone? "I hope that young Master Qing can meet my young master." Young master said that if you're not willing to come, this lowly one will pass this to you. The servant handed over a folded piece of paper. Su Yun opened it and saw two shining words written on the paper. Su Yun. Seeing that, Su Yun's face changed. "Who exactly is your young master?" "My young master said that he has no ill intentions towards young Master Qing, but he wants you to meet him. When you meet my young master, everything will be revealed." Su Yun lowered his head and thought for a moment, then nodded his head and said, "Lead the way." The servant immediately led Su Yun through the main street and arrived at a tavern. Regardless of where it was, as long as there were people, there would be taverns. The ultimate martial world was no exception. No matter how high one's cultivation was, there would always be people who loved to drink. When they reached the private room on the second floor of the tavern, the servant stopped and smiled at Su Yun. "Young Master Qing, please." Su Yun was expressionless. He directly pushed open the door and entered, only to see a man dressed in light blue robes drinking wine inside the private room. When Su Yun entered the private room, he did not stand up, but instead smiled. "Long time no see, Su Yun." "Feng Ling Sheng." Su Yun was startled. He looked at the man seated in front of the table in astonishment. He remembered that he was wearing a hat, and asked curiously, "How did you recognize that I am Su Yun? Although you have covered your face, but I will never forget your figure. Even if you turn into ashes, I will still recognize you." Feng Ling Sheng laughed. Hearing that, Su Yin laughed. He was extremely happy. He never thought that he would meet Feng Ling Sheng in such a situation. Su Yin, why did you come to the ultimate martial world so quickly? Could it be that you specially came to find me? Feng Ling Sheng asked. I am preparing to revive my master, but met with some obstacles along the way. I am lacking a few ingredients, so I decided to come to the ultimate martial world to look for them. Coincidentally, you are in the ultimate martial world, so I wanted you to help me gather the ingredients, since cultivation coins are needed here, and I am penniless. Su Yin shrugged his shoulders. Penniless? Feng Ling Sheng glanced at him and said, The great Nangong, great young master Nangong Qing, is penniless? I don't believe your words. What Nangong, great young master? He is just a disguise. Su Yin laughed bitterly and told Feng Ling Sheng about Nangong Qing's plan. Hearing that, Feng Ling Sheng was surprised. I thought that you killed Nangong Qing and purposely pretended to be him to gain some benefits. The Nangong family is an aristocratic family with many experts. How would I dare to do such a thing? If I am seen through, wouldn't I be consigned to eternal damnation? That's not bad. Your disguise technique is extremely powerful, but there are even more powerful treasures that can see through it. So unless you have no other choice, it is best not to do such a thing. All right, you said you lack a few ingredients? What ingredients do you lack? I will help you gather them. Thank you very much. Su Yin laughed, then told Feng Ling Sheng about the Dawn Creek water, Ju Miao Heart Qi, 3 Moon Space-Time Metal, Illusory Spirit Qi, and the other ingredients. Feng Ling Sheng nodded his head. Although they are all expensive ingredients, it is not difficult to gather them. I will send my men to send them to you after a period of time. Su Yin cupped his fists. I owe you one. Sigh, why do we have to say such things between us? Aren't you treating me as an outsider? Feng Ling Sheng waved his hands and laughed. He seemed to have thought of something and asked, But Su Yin, since you came to the ultimate martial world, why didn't you look for me, and instead went to look for Nangong Qing? It is a long story. Su Yin sighed and told him about what happened at the Feng family's door. With that said, a bang sound was heard. Feng Ling Sheng slammed the table with his palm. His face was filled with anger. That Feng Mo Chong. He is purposely making things difficult for me. Oh, seems like your Feng family is the same as the Nangong family. The brothers are not on good terms. Feng Mo Chong is the patriarch's son, the future successor of the Feng family, while I am the concubine's son. He has always looked down on me, especially after what happened to me in the Sky Martial continent. He looked down on me even more, causing my cultivation to drop. Even my position in the Feng residence has dropped. Thus I have been cultivating in my room, hoping to quickly recover my strength. Tonight, I heard that there is a pill refining assembly being held, and hoped to buy some pills to aid in my cultivation, but coincidentally found you, so I sent someone to invite you over. Recovering your cultivation is not something that can be done in a day. I am afraid you'll have to suffer a lot. I know that. Feng Ling Sheng sighed. I just hope that Feng Mo Chong will know his place. Feng Mo Chong's talent is not high. His cultivation is mostly due to the absorption of cultivation coins, and in the past few years, I have spent countless cultivation coins on him. But even so, he is not considered an expert. The cultivation absorbed from cultivation coins is not as strong as his own cultivation, and he is not satisfied. So he placed his sights on the large financial groups and almighty beings. I heard that he has already made his move. I hope that he will not offend the almighty beings. You just have to do your own thing. Su Yin said. I hope so. Feng Ling Sheng clapped his hands, causing the servant standing guard outside to immediately push open the door and stand respectfully in front of Feng Ling Sheng. Feng Mo Chong does not allow you to enter the Feng family. It is not easy for us to contact each other. In the future, if you need me, just inform him. He is my servant. His name is Li Xiang. Li Xiang greets young Master Su. No need to be so polite. Quickly rise. Su Yin helped the servant up. Feng Ling Sheng laughed. I came out the last minute. It is getting late. I should go back. Su Yin, let us have a drink another day. No problem. Su Yin's mouth curved up. After leaving the restaurant, Su Yin returned to the Nangong family. After meeting Feng Ling Sheng, he felt much better, and his footsteps became faster. When he returned to the house, Xiao Chui was still running around anxiously with a look of fear. Seeing that Su Yun was safe and sound, her worried heart finally calmed down. "Young master, you are finally back. You scared this servant to death." Xiao Chui exhaled and said, "Don't worry, I won't be exposed so easily." Su Yun consoled her, then took off his hat and headed towards the forbidden grounds. "I'm going to cultivate. If anyone comes to find me, tell them that I have yet to return. Understand?" "Yes, young master." After Xiao Chui replied, Su Yun entered the sculpture and activated the 7th-tier Imperial equipment. Entering the sword chi storm, he stood behind the sculpture and started to cultivate. He took out all the pills that he bought from the gathering and swallowed them one by one. All of them were extremely expensive, and if placed in the Sky Martial continent, they would be priceless treasures. When the pills entered his stomach and were digested, Su Yun felt the spirit chi in his body becoming restless. A large number of spirit essences started to heat up as though they were about to explode. Sensing the strange situation, Su Yun immediately increased the instigation of his spirit chi. Just as the spirit chi started to fluctuate, a crisp sound came out, and a spirit essence split open. Following that, pata sounds came out like firecrackers. It did not stop, and a light shot out from Su Yun's head, straight into the clouds. 6th stage of the Spirit Star Realm. Su Yun slowly opened his eyes. A gold light flashed past his eyes. The proof of qualifications on his waist showed that his fighting strength had increased to 1090 points. Chapter 400. After breaking through, Su Yun felt refreshed and returned to his house to rest. He had not been in the ultimate martial world for long, but his cultivation had broken through time and time again. Such a speed of cultivation was truly godly. In the following days, Su Yun continued to train in the Forbidden Grounds. The amplification of the formation was extremely shocking. The feeling of his cultivation exploding was extremely intoxicating, to the point of forgetting himself. And in this period of time, Huai Romuyu never came again. It was said that she had been strolling around Sky Central City, going to all the big shops. Su Yun guessed that she was doing this to expand the Huai Ro family's trade route. A few days later, with the support of the divine formation behind the sculpture, Su Yun felt the spirit chi in his body becoming restless again, vaguely showing signs of breaking through. His cultivation increased. His spirit chi became denser. Ling Qingyu saw that it was about time, and flew out from the sword sheath, intending to teach Su Yun the 3rd sword formation. Outside the Forbidden Grounds, the Cold Hail sword formation is a middle-grade sword formation. Its strongest use is defense and counterattack. When fighting with others, it can be used to gain the upper hand, and the sword formation that I am teaching you now is called the 7 Ascension Slaughter Formation, a high-grade sword formation. This formation imitates the positions of Pejuan, Wu Chu, Lian Zhun, Wen Chu, Lu Siyuan, Zhu Min, and Greedy Wolf. These 7 stars are arranged according to their positions. Emphasizing on 1 star, 1 difficulty per star, this formation can only be used with 7 swords. Not 1 more, not 1 less. The 7 Ascension Slaughter Formation was created by my ancestor. Its power is boundless. Its specialty is strangeness and terror. When the 7 swords are unleashed, the sword edge will cry out. The sword cry will bring about a strange rhythm, flying out together and dancing in the air. The faster the sword cry, the stronger the killing intent, and the 7 sword will surround the target and shrink the area, increasing the pressure on the target. Like a firm net, gradually tightening, the target will become a fish in the net and can only wait for death. To unleash this 7 Ascension Slaughter Formation, the most basic requirement is the accumulation of spirit chi. If the spirit chi is insufficient, this sword formation will be useless, but with enough spirit chi, it will be able to destroy an army of 1,000 and be invincible. Ling Qingyu said, and took out 7 wooden rods and demonstrated to Su Yun. The 7 wooden sticks danced in the air like 7 shooting stars, dazzling the onlookers. The messy sword chi seemed to be disorderly, but there was an extremely obscure connection between them. Suddenly, the 7 wooden rods surrounded Su Yun, and the sword chi between them suddenly stopped, And when they looked again, the sword Chi had actually completely sealed off Su Yun's surroundings, so tight that not even a drop of water could leak out. How exquisite! Su Yun could not help but praise. Pay attention. Just then, Ling Qing called out. Su Yun's nerves tensed up. He stared at his surroundings, only to see that the 7 wooden rods surrounding him were trembling even more frequently, and with a sound, a wooden rod was flying towards him. Although it was just a wooden stick, the spirit Qi on it was extremely astonishing. Ling Qing, used current cultivation, could not be compared to him, but the pressure she gave him far surpassed the 6th stage of the Spirit Star realm. This was all thanks to the sword array. Su Yun pulled out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword and struck the wooden rod, attempting to cut it. However, the moment the sword touched the wooden club, the sword Qi on its surface instantly exploded, turning into 10,000 sword Qi that attacked him fiercely. What? Su Yun was shocked. He immediately unleashed his 7th-tier Imperial equipment to block. Clang, 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 the sword Qi clashed onto the divine Qi released by the Imperial equipment, releasing a concentrated sound. The ground around them was torn apart by the sword Qi, creating a scene of desolation. The sword Qi was not any weaker than the sword Qi storm released by the statue. This is just the power of one sword. If all 7 swords are released at the same time, its power is boundless. Your defensive treasure seems to be a powerful treasure. If it was anyone else with this sword array, I can easily kill them. Ling Qingyu removed the sword array, then said, "Now, you can practice." Su Yun nodded his head. He took out 7 sub-sword from the sword sheath and started to practice the 7 Ascension sword array. 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. The courtyard was extremely quiet. Xiao Chui leaned on the railing and rested. Just then, light footsteps came from outside the courtyard. Xiao Chui was shocked. She immediately stood up and looked to see Huai Romu Yu and her servant Xiao Hong walking over. Not good. Xiao Chui's body trembled. She then ran towards Huai Romu Yu and purposely shouted, "This servant greets Miss Huairo." "Xiao Chui, you don't have to be so loud, right?" Xiao Hong rubbed her ears and complained. To that, Xiao Chui did not know how to explain and stammered for a long time. "Xiao Chui, is your young master in the house?" Huairo Mu Yu asked indifferently. "Young master, Xiao Chui was tongue-tied. She was panicking. She did not know if Su Yun went to the Forbidden Grounds. If he did not, Huairo Mu Yu would definitely be able to sense that there was someone in the house. But if he went and she said he did not, wouldn't that attract suspicion? "Xiao Chui, what's wrong with you today?" Xiao Hong extended her neck and looked at her strangely, her face full of suspicion. "Nothing much." Xiao Chui laughed awkwardly. Her back was covered in perspiration. The situation was extremely strange. Xiao Chui's heart was thumping. She did not know how to handle it. Just then, a voice came out from inside the house. "Xiao Chui, invite Miss Huairo in." It was Su Yun's voice. That voice was like a life-saving straw, allowing Xiao Chui to heave a sigh of relief. She revealed a smile and immediately spoke to Huairo Muyu. "Miss Huairo, please." "Yes." Huairo Muyu nodded her head lightly. She then pinched her skirt and walked into the house. Xiao Hong looked left and right at Xiao Chui, her eyes filled with suspicion. Inside the house, Su Yun was still sitting cross-legged. When Huairo Muyu entered, he did not even look at her. It was extremely quiet. One person was standing while the other was sitting with their backs facing each other. It was an awkward and strange scene. It was as though Huairo Muyu did not have the intention to speak first. But come to think of it, Huairo Muyu was the daughter of the Huairo family. Yet Nangong Qing did not entertain her and instead continued to train. It was extremely rude. After a long while, Su Yun, who had his eyes closed, finally spoke. "Muyu, what brings you here?" Huairo Muyu looked at Su Yun, her cherry lips opening up. "Young Master Qing, Muyu has come here to ask you something." "Ask what?" Su Yun opened his eyes. Huairo Muyu lowered her head and thought for a moment, then asked gently, "Do you not intend to become dual cultivation companions with me?" Hearing that, Su Yun asked, "Why do you say that?" "Young Master Qing, although this is the first time I have come to the Nangong family, and the first time I have met you, I will tell you the truth, I have sent people to investigate you. Please forgive me. Huai Mu Yu, will always make preparations before doing anything, and this matter is no exception. You are different from the Nan Gongqing that I have heard. The Nan Gongqing that I have heard is a gentle and considerate person who is extremely meticulous in everything he does. Although your cultivation is not considered to be outstanding, it is not bad either, but the current you is completely different from what I have imagined. Ignoring the fact that your cultivation has dropped, you treat people indifferently, as though you do not care about other people's feelings at all. Not only that, you are intentionally doing things that make me feel disgusted or even embarrassed. Initially, I did not understand why you would do that, but after thinking about it, I feel that you only have one goal, and that is to not be willing to marry me, right? Hearing that, Su Yun became silent. I never thought that Huai Mu you would be so intelligent, to actually be able to see through all of this. If I say that I am truly not willing to marry you, what will you do? Su Yun probed. I will immediately dissolve the marriage. Huai Mu Yu said, without hesitation. If this marriage cannot be carried out, I am afraid that I will become the sinner of the Nan Gong family. Su Yun added, I will dissolve it. The Nan Gong family will not make things difficult for you. You can be at ease. Huai Mu Yu said gently. Her expression was extremely calm, without any ripples. So it's like that. Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. The boulder in his heart had been lifted. If it's like that, then my mission is complete. Sighed just then. A strange fragrance suddenly floated out from the house. Su Yun's mind moved. He suddenly stood up and looked around cautiously. What's wrong? Huai Mu Yu was startled, but in the next second, she also felt the strange smell. She suddenly stood up, and with a wave of her hand, a lustrous and slender crystal sword appeared in her hand. Don't breathe. Don't use qi. If not, the smell will seep into your body and attack the spirit essences, numbing them. Su Yun said softly, although it was his first time seeing such a qi, but the movement and attack of the qi allowed him to guess its attribute. Although Su Yun's cultivation was not as high as Huai Mu Yu's, in terms of medical knowledge and poison, Huai Mu Yu could not compare to Su Yun. Hearing that, Huai Mu Yu immediately stopped her spirit essences. She carefully walked out of the house and called out softly, Xiao Chui, Xiao Hong, but there was no reply. When the two of them went out, they saw Xiao Chui and Xiao Hong lying on the ground with pale faces, not knowing if they were dead or alive. Su Yun's face tensed up. He immediately retrieved the sword sheath and hung it on his waist. Who is it? Huai Mu Yu knew that something had happened. She looked around and shouted, Good man. A voice came out. A few men dressed in black armor entered the courtyard. All of them had smiles on their faces, their eyes filled with killing intent. They walked over step by step. Do you guys look alike? Su Yun stared at them and asked, Don't we look alike? Maybe you'll know soon enough. The man in the lead stared at Huai Mu Yu and said softly, Miss Huai Mu Yu, please come with us. If you are obedient, maybe you can avoid the pain, but if you resist, we can only use force. Who exactly are you guys? Huai Mu Yu held onto her crystal sword tightly and asked, Won't you know if you come with us? Is that possible? Huai Mu Yu retreated a few steps. Her face was gloomy. What cultivation do they have? Su Yun asked softly. They are all wearing treasures that hide their strength. It's hard to guess. Since they dare to come here, they must have come prepared. But where are the Nan Gong family? Why are they here? If it's not that there are people from a Nan Gong family, then there are too many of them. The Nan Gong family can't handle them. No matter what, we have to escape first. Su Yun bellowed. Escape? Where to? Just follow me. Su Yun grabbed onto Huai Mu Yu's hand and ran toward the back of the house. You think you can escape? The man snorted. Xianair waved her hand. Kill Nan Gongqing and capture Huai Mu Yu alive. Quick! Yes. The few people behind shouted and rushed into the house. All of them were extremely fast, and when they ran, they had a threatening aura that was out of the ordinary. Their strength was most likely close to Spirit Master Cultivator. The two of them followed the green brick road and ran into the forbidden grounds of the Nan Gong family. A large swamp appeared in front of Su Yun. He took a deep breath and turned to look at the people behind him, and immediately said, Don't resist. What? Huai Mu Yu was startled. But before she could react, Su Yun had already carried her up like a princess, and with a tap of his feet, the two of them rushed towards the statue. Chapter 4:01. Huai Mu Yu was completely stunned. She never thought that in such a dangerous moment, Su Yun would actually hug her. Since young, she had rarely touched a stranger's hand. She never expected to meet this person. Not only was her hand being grabbed and touched, even her body was being hugged by him. Huai Mu Yu's thoughts were not that of a conservative person. How could a conservative person submit to a merchant? But as a girl, she would always feel shy. Even if the situation was not looking good, she could not help but feel a strange feeling in her heart. Clang, 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 a strange collision sound came out. Huai Mu Yu looked toward the sound, only to see that Su Yun had already brought her to the statue in the middle of the swamp. Su Yun placed Huai Mu Yu down, holding onto the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword. He looked ahead cautiously. What do we do now? Huai Mu Yu calmed herself down and asked gently. Wait for reinforcements. Su Yun said. He touched his storage ring. He wanted to wear the hat on his head. In case someone came to save him, his current appearance would reveal his identity. But after searching his storage ring, he realized that he had left the hat in the house. Helpless, he could only drape the black cloak over his body, pulling down the hood to cover his face. What are you doing? Huai Mu Yu was curious, but Su Yun did not explain. The pursuers had already arrived. Looking at the two people standing next to the statue, their eyes were filled with malevolence and malevolence. You have nowhere else to run? Just obediently accept your death. The two of them rushed forward, brandishing their weapons to kill Su Yun and Huai Mu Yu. Seeing that, Huai Mu Yu became anxious. She immediately held onto her crystal sword and prepared to counterattack. Don't go! Su Yun immediately hugged her waist, preventing her from rushing out. Huai Mu Yu looked at him in a daze. But just then, the two rushing over suddenly crashed into something poochy. Their bodies instantly exploded, transforming into a mist of blood. They died instantly. There was not even a bit of flesh left. Even the blood was vaporized, floating in the air. Huai Mu Yu was immediately dumbstruck. What's going on? She asked. There's an extremely powerful sword chi around the statue. Anyone who gets close to it will be turned into powder. Su Yun said. Then how did you get in? I have an extremely powerful defensive treasure that can forcefully break through. Huai Mu Yu looked at him for a long time before nodding her head. With these sword chi guards, this place was a natural refuge. When the remaining three people saw that the two of them had been killed, their faces turned pale and they were indescribably terrified. There seems to be an aura around the statue. Touching it meant certain death. Everyone, be careful. Someone sensed something fishy and shouted loudly. What are you waiting for? We don't have much time. Once the Nangong family's experts arrive, all our plans will be for naught. At this time, the leader walked over, looked at the three people hesitating in front of the swamp, and said angrily in a low voice, Sir, there's a strange aura around the statue. Just now, Virtual Dragon and Virtual Tiger died in the sword chi. We don't know what this aura is, so we don't dare to attack it. The people beside him cupped their fists and said, Then how did they get in? This subordinate saw that they seemed to have entered directly. Why are they fine after entering? Perhaps they have grasped the switch of this aura. Humph, a 6-stage spirit star realm trash and a spirit master cultivator. And you guys can't do anything about it? Truly a bunch of good-for-nothings. The leader snorted, then leaped up and rushed towards the statue. Then, just as he approached, the sword chi was released again. Like the teeth of countless ferocious beasts, they fiercely tore at the leader. Round bell, ancient defense. The leader bellowed. He activated a palm-sized ancient bell treasure and enveloped his body, intending to rush forward. But the ancient bell only lasted for a few breaths of time before cracks appeared on it, and it was about to shatter. Seeing that, the leader perspired in cold sweat and immediately rushed out of the sword chi storm. Upon leaving the sword chi storm, the round bell immediately shattered. Master, are you all right? The The people behind ran over. I never thought that the chi would be so terrifying. Even my round bell ancient defense treasure was destroyed. This is a high-grade treasure. The leader took a deep breath and said, "Master, what will we do now?" Someone asked, "Do they think that by hiding beside the statue, I will not be able to do anything to them?" The leader took out another treasure and placed it on the ground. It was a treasure that looked like a spinning top. It had a pink surface and terrifying blood markings at the top. When the leader closed his eyes and chanted, the spinning top started to spin faster and faster. Seeing that, Huai Romuyu's face changed. Reverse spinning top. What treasure is that? A treasure that can forcefully teleport people. A treasure used by assassins. I never thought that he would have such a thing. Seems like we cannot stay here. If not, we will be forcefully sent out by him. If we don't stay here, we have nowhere else to run. Suyin took a deep breath. He stared at the leader and asked, "If we fight with them, do you think our chances of winning are high?" "Very small. Your strength is too low. Such a large disparity in cultivation is hard to rely on killing techniques and treasures to make up for it. But other than fighting, we have no other choice." Huai Romuyu flipped her hands, and two snow-white diamond-like objects appeared in her hands. She gave one to Su Yun, and then swallowed the other. "This is the Sage Era Bodhi. It can increase your cultivation by 200 years, and after consuming it, the medicine that cannot be absorbed from the Bodhi will temporarily attach to your spirit essences, temporarily allowing you to possess absolute strength. This pill can temporarily allow you to enter the Spirit Master Realm, but it will not last for long. When he teleports us out, we will immediately force our way out. Escape from here." Su Yun swallowed the Bodhi, looked at the four people outside, and asked, "Do you know where the reverse spinning top will teleport us to?" 5M around a reverse spinning top. That is the core of its twisting power. "How long do you think it will take before we are teleported out?" "When the ring beneath your feet touches the edge of your feet." Hearing that, Su Yun lowered his head to look, only to see a dark red ring appearing beneath him and Huai Romuyu. The rings were continuously shrinking and were about to reach their ankles. At the same time, the few people outside all brandished out their treasures with a serious look on their faces. Seeing that, Suyin did not dare hesitate and called out, "Muyu, get ready." With that, he extended his hand and hugged Huai Romuyu. He brandished out his 7th-tier imperial equipment and directly rushed out of the statue's range. The leader, who was still controlling the reverse spinning top, was startled. He did not even have the time to react, only to see Huai Romuyu's crystal sword rushing towards him. They did not know that Huai Romuyu had recognized the treasure, so they did not expect the two of them to suddenly attack when they were about to be teleported out of the statue by the reverse spinning top. Huai Romuyu took the chance and activated her spirit chi. A large amount of frigid aqua spirit chi flowed into the leader's body through the crystal sword, causing his body to be covered in ice, and the frigid spirit chi wreaked havoc. So, 3 ferocious tiger blades slashed over. Huai Romuyu was unable to defend. Su Yun anxiously brandished the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword and blocked the 3 blades. It was just that the 3 of them were extremely powerful. Even after eating the Sage Era Bodhi, it was difficult for him to win against them. "Don't fight them head-on," Su Yun bellowed. He tapped his feet lightly and retreated like a leaf. A large number of flying swords flew out from the sword sheath. There were over 1,000 of them. They covered the entire sky with an imposing aura, causing the 4 people's hearts to jump. The flying swords pierced into the ground and formed a sword formation. "All of you go and take care of Nan Gongqing. Watch me cripple Huai Romuyu and capture her alive." The leader roared. His entire body trembled. The frigid aqua spirit chi that had entered his body dissipated. He raised his hand, and a sledgehammer appeared in his hand. He swung it ferociously towards Huai Romuyu. Huai Romuyu clenched her teeth. She raised her crystal sword to block. The sledgehammer struck the sword blade, causing the sword blade to fly out like a rubber ball, bringing Huai Romuyu down into the swamp. They were too strong. She was not their match. All of them had true divine spirit chi. Their defenses were astonishing. Their strength was boundless, and they could easily tear apart the ground. Su Yun's fight was extremely troublesome. Although he had eaten the sage arabodi and his cultivation had recovered, but there were 3 of them, and he was at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. He anxiously retreated, his fingers quickly forming sword arts. He instigated the spirit chi in his body, causing the 1,000 flying swords to revolve. After consuming the bodhi, his spirit essences became restless. A large amount of spirit chi erupted out of them like a fountain, allowing him to unleash the sword formation even more easily. The 1,000 swords split into 2 groups, one for offense and one for defense. With the 3 of them as the center, they quickly revolved. The rustling sounds continued to come out. 8 parts, 8 whole sword formation. Su Yun landed outside the formation and activated the sub-swords, activating the Monarch Occult Force to switch to frigid Aqua Spirit Chi. He then sent the 10 sub-swords flying out. Cold Hail, sword formation. The 3 people inside the sword formation were immediately assaulted by the frigid Aqua Spirit Chi. They had to endure the concentrated attacks of the sword formation. They were overwhelmed. The 3 of them had never seen such a strange technique before. Everyone, do not panic. We will force our way out. One of the armored men growled. He gathered his true divine spirit chi to his torso and then rushed out like a wild bull, allowing the sub-swords to attack him. But his body was not damaged at all. Seeing that, Su Yun immediately activated the Cold Hail sword formation to freeze the man. At the same time, he landed at the edge of the sword formation, activating the consummate technique, Tiger King, 4-directional roar from the sprite's shadow ring, immediately releasing 4 roaring tiger head silhouettes around him. The man was intimidated to the point that his entire body was trembling. His spirit chi dissipated. He was unable to defend. Su Yun took the opportunity to gather the sub-swords and attack the man who was prepared to rush out. The combined swords rushed forward. The rain of flying swords directly pierced into his body. In a moment, he became a beehive. Seeing that, the other 2 were shocked. It's your turn next. Su Yun bellowed. He threw the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword in his hand, then took out the Desolar. He took out 5 sub-swords and started to activate the sword formation. So. 7 swords flew out and landed on top of the 2 men's heads. The astonishing sword chi spread out like a fishing net. The pressure on the 2 men increased. They did not know how to defend. The sword formation is controlled by that man. I will block his vision. We will take advantage of the chaos to rush out of the sword formation. One of them bellowed. He then raised his leg and stepped on the ground. Bang, 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 bunga. A large amount of dust flew up from the ground, and countless of earth spikes shot out from the cracks, like a wall that covered the figures of the 2 men. Go! A voice came out from behind the earth spikes. But just as the voice came out, the 7 flying swords circling in the air rushed out. Chapter 402. Boom! A muffled sound came out from the swamp. Huairomuyu fiercely smashed into a rock that was covered in moss, and then rolled down. She supported herself with her trembling hands. Her delicate body slowly stood up, her eyes filled with unwillingness as she stared at the man walking over. I've said it before, if you had followed us obediently, you wouldn't have to suffer so much. How about it? Do you regret it now? The leader carried his sledgehammer and walked over step by step. His scarred face revealed a sinister smile. Huairomuyu did not say a word, but the determination on her face showed her stance. She held onto her crystal sword tightly and was about to attack again. You're courting death. Miss Huairomuyu, your cultivation is considered outstanding among your peers, but in front of me, you are still lacking. I'll tell you the truth. Even if your Huairo family people come, I can easily handle them. The leader sneered. He suddenly took a step forward and instantly appeared in front of Huairomuyu. As though the ground had shrunk to an inch, he placed his hand on Huairomuyu's shoulder and was about to use force to remove the arm that was holding the sword. Huairomuyu's mind buzzed. She could not react in time. But right at that moment of life and death, a sword swung over from the right and fiercely slashed towards the arm. The leader frowned and immediately retreated. Su Yun had unknowingly appeared beside Huairomuyu. He was dressed in a black cloak with a sword sheath slung over his back, and a blood-red sword in his hand. His killing intent was extremely cold, and his sword chi was extremely reckless. Nangong Qing, Huai Muyu called out. Her throat tasted sweet as she spat out a mouthful of blood. "Are you all right?" Su Yun asked. "I'm fine, but he is very strong and not easy to deal with," Huai Muyu said weakly. "We just need to stall for time and wait for the experts of the Nangong family to rescue us." Su Yun held onto his sword tightly. His pale white face was filled with determination. The Huai family truly has many treasures. To be able to allow a 6-stage Spirit Star Realm trash to enter the Spirit Master Realm. But with just that, you can't fight me. I am not like my trash subordinates. The leader glanced at Su Yun, then raised his hand, releasing Divine Spirit Chi. The sledgehammer fiercely smashed toward Su Yun. The shining sledgehammer was like a huge mountain falling from the sky, its aura surging. Su Yun's eyes turned cold. He took a step to the side and dodged the sledgehammer. The sledgehammer fell to the ground, causing the ground to instantly crack. The dense shockwave shook the entire Nangong family, causing the ground around to completely shatter. "You're strong, but you're too slow," Su Yun bellowed. He got close to the leader and waved his hand, causing a large amount of chi to attack the leader's entire body. Storm Sword Art. So. A subordinate sword floated over and sliced along the trajectory of the chi. However, a series of clanging sounds rang out. Although the subordinate sword was extremely sharp, it could not cut through the leader's protective aura. "Is that all you can do?" The leader sneered and sent a palm towards Su Yun. Su Yun's eyes turned cold. He swung his arm and grabbed towards the side. A burst of white light suddenly appeared, and the dazzling light bloomed in all directions. In an instant, the whistling sword intent shot into the sky like a meteor. A peerless sword suddenly appeared, and the entire forbidden area was forcibly pulled into an indescribable sword concept. "What's going on?" Huai Muyu's heart jumped a few times. She looked towards the white light, only to see a young lady dressed in snow-white robes appearing at the place where Su Yun's right hand was. So, unknowingly, Su Yun's hand was holding onto a snow-white sword. He aimed at the incoming palm and slashed with the sword. The sword tip was like lightning Pucci. The divine spirit chi on the surface of his arm was instantly slashed. His arm was cut off, causing a large amount of blood to spurt out. "Ah!" The leader screamed in pain and retreated a few steps. "What sword is that? To actually be able to break my divine spirit chi." The leader clenched his teeth and roared. "The contracted victory sword," Su Yun said coldly. He then rushed forward and slashed in the air. The leader raised his hammer to block. But at that moment, Su Yun's chi was like a rainbow. With his sword pressing down, it actually had an unparalleled aura. The leader had lost an arm. He had lost a lot of strength and was actually suppressed by Su Yun. Huai Muyu was stunned. Although she did not know the leader's strength, she was extremely clear of Su Yun's. "What sword is that? It actually has such power." "Muyu!" Su Yun clenched his teeth and shouted. Huai Muyu was not an idiot. Seeing that it was a rare opportunity, she immediately thrusted her sword. The crystal sword released a rainbow-light aura, directly striking the leader's chest. Pucci! A large hole appeared in the leader's chest. Blood spewed out. The divine spirit chi around his body was in a mess. Su Yun took the opportunity to press down on the contracted victory sword. At the same time, he moved his finger, controlling the flying sword to attack. Facing the continuous attacks, the leader was already forced to a dead end. His heart congealed. He bellowed. A large number of chi fists suddenly shot out from his body, fiercely smashing onto Su Yun's chest. Bang, 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 bang. Su Yun was struck 5 times. The chi and blood in his body churned. His throat felt sweet, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. "Watch me smash you into a meat paste." The leader roared. A wave of divine spirit chi rose up, directly forcing Su Yun away. Su Yun retreated a few steps, his body swaying nonstop. The opponent was too strong. Just as his body was unstable, the leader pounced over. Like a ferocious tiger pouncing on its prey, the chi fists fiercely smashed toward Su Yun. The divine spirit chi erupted attaching to the tip of the fists. All of the fists weighed over 50,000 kilograms. Upon contact with the body, it could cause a person to explode. With so many fists striking the body, the opponent would definitely be smashed to smithereens. Su Yun knew of the power of the fists, but at the moment, how could he retreat? His eyes turned cold. He stared at the leader behind the Chi Tiger fists. Clenching his teeth, he wielded the contracted victory sword and slashed towards his head. Xiao! The slender, whip-like white sword swung over. A strange chila sound came out. A large amount of divine spirit chi was sliced apart. The snow-white sword directly sliced the leader's body. From head to tail, it was cut into two. The power of the Chi Tiger fists immediately retreated, but when it smashed onto Su Yun's body, the power was still not weak. Su Yun's entire body was flung out, falling heavily into the swamp. His clothes were not as clean as Huai Romuyu's. With this fall, he was covered in mud, and when he stood up, he was already in a sorry state. The leader froze. After a moment, a blood-red slit appeared in the middle of his body, finally splitting him into two, falling left and right, his internal organs spilling out, blood splattering everywhere. Su Yun, are you all right? Ling Qingyu anxiously ran over and helped him up. I'm fine. Su Yun stood up while gasping for breath. His face was pale white, perspiring profusely. He glanced at the leader that was gradually falling. His serious eyes relaxed. The contracted victory sword was removed, and Ling Qingyu recovered her strength. She helped Su Yun out of the swamp, and he immediately sat down cross-legged, recovering. Everything was over. Although my sword is extremely sharp, my cultivation is much lower than the dead man. According to common sense, I should not have been able to slash him into two. Ling Qingyu glanced at Su Yun and asked, Did you do something? Su Yun raised his arm weakly and showed his 5 fingers to Ling Qingyu. Most of his fingers were wearing rings, but one of them was a black lotus-shaped ring that was extremely eye-catching. One of the 72 consummate techniques of the sprite's shadow, glimmer heart-breaking sword art. When I killed that man, I activated this mystical technique and raised the sharpness of the contracted victory sword to its limit, cutting through gold and breaking jade, sweeping everything in its path. Adding that the leader's arm was cut off by me, the true divine chi in his body was in a mess, and his chest was pierced by Huai Romuyu. He was heavily injured, and the chi protecting his body dropped drastically, so I was able to kill him, but activating this mystical technique exhausted all the spirit chi in my body, and I am at my limit. Su Yun panted with all his might, as though he did not even have the strength to speak. Hearing that, Ling Qingyu nodded her head. In that situation, it was either you die or he dies, so you could only give it your all. That's right. Su Yun laughed bitterly. Luckily you appeared in time. If not, I would have used the death sword. That won't do. Once the death sword is unleashed, the evil chi will explode. Adding its sword might is extremely strong. It will definitely attract countless of experts, and at that time, the situation will be hard to deal with. Use it in times of danger. You can't not use it even if you lose your life. Since it is used by me, I should not have any misgivings. Su Yun said. That's true. Ling Qingyu nodded her head. She wanted to say something, but suddenly, footsteps came from the entrance of the forbidden grounds and immediately transformed into a ray of white light, entering Su Yun's sword sheath. Su Yun immediately kept the sword sheath into his storage ring. Huai Romuyu, who was at the side, had been staring at him and Ling Qingyu, and only after Ling Qingyu left did she slowly walk over. Su Yun, how are you? I'm so sad. Su Yun said intentionally. I have some good pills here. After consuming them, you can quickly recover your chi, heal your wounds, and even increase your cultivation. You can take them. Huai Romuyu took out a few porcelain bottles from somewhere and handed them over. At this time, Su Yun fully displayed his shameless side. He actually kept all the porcelain bottles in his bag, chuckled a few times, opened the bottle, and stuffed it into his mouth like beans. Who was that lady just now? Huai Romuyu asked gently. What's wrong? Are you jealous? Su Yun chewed on the pills and said, You have an affair with a few girls. It has nothing to do with me. Why should I be jealous? Huai Mu Yu shook her head gently. Hearing that, Su Yun was startled. He looked at Huai Mu Yu strangely and said, Mu Yu, why do you say that? Don't tell me you don't object to me taking in concubines? Of course not. Why? Su Yun felt that something was amiss. With Huai Mu Yu's personality, she should not be so open. Although polygamy was a common sight in the ultimate martial world, there were many who supported monogamy. Of course, polygamy existed as well. But just as Su Yun was feeling confused, Huai Mu Yu said something that caused his heart to tense up. Because you're not Nan Gongqing. Her voice was extremely soft. Huai Mu Yu's face did not have much expression. Hearing that, Su Yun was shocked for a moment. After a long while, he took a deep breath. How do you know? He did not quibble. Against an intelligent woman like Huai Mu Yu, quibbling was useless. There are 2 points. Firstly, the Qi attribute that you're using is not the famous Southern Cloud Divine Qi that has been passed down for generations in the Nan Gong family. Secondly, although the most powerful technique in the Nan Gong family is the sword technique, Nan Gongqing does not know how to use a sword. And not only do you possess exquisite sword techniques, you even know how to control 1,000 swords, the mystical technique. Thus I deduce that you're not Nan Gongqing. Huai Mu Yu stood in front of Su Yun, her deep autumn eyes staring intently at Su Yun. She asked gently, Who are you? Chapter 4:03. Who am I? Su Yun laughed bitterly. I'm just a hired man. Since he had been exposed, there was nothing to hide. Where's Nan Gongqing? Huai Mu Yu asked. He is with his lover. Lover? Huai Mu Yu frowned. Is it someone he likes? Yes. Then why did he hire you to impersonate him? He wants to reject the marriage. He does not want to become dual cultivation companions with you. He already has someone he likes, so he wants me to impersonate him, to make you hate Nan Gongqing and reject the marriage. Su Yun said honestly, Isn't it better to tell me directly? If he is not willing, I will not force him, since I do not have any feelings for him. Huai Mu Yu said indifferently, The matter is not as simple as you think. Su Yun shook his head. If I reject you, I will offend the entire Huai family, and using such a method, I will only offend you. The current Huai family is no longer the same as before. The Nan Gong family cannot be compared to them. In front of the Huai family, the people of the Nan Gong family will follow their orders without question. If I were to truly be honest with you, I am afraid that Nan Gongqing will become the center of both families, and the consequences will be even more severe. Hearing that, Huai Mu Yu became silent. Since you have already seen through me, there is no need for me to continue pretending. Miss Huai, tell me your plans. Are you going to hand me over to the Nan Gong family? Or are you going to do it yourself? Su Yun laughed helplessly. Huai Mu Yu shook her head. Although you are an impersonator, I, Huai Mu Yu, am not an ungrateful person. You saved me just now. How can I harm you now? Then what you intend to do? Huai Mu Yu thought for a moment, then said, You can continue pretending. Until the day I leave, when I return to the Huai family, I will reject the marriage in front of my father and grandfather. Explain everything? Su Yun asked. Huai Mu Yu looked at his pale, white face. As though she knew of his worries, she said, I just do not like Nan Gongqing. Hearing that, Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief and revealed a bitter smile. I will stay in the Nan Gong family for a few more days. There are some business matters that I need to deal with. Also, I need to send people to investigate the attack. Huai Mu Yu stood up and looked at the junction. Just then, a large group of Nan Gong family guards and the experts brought by Huai Mu Yu rushed over. Young master, young miss, are you guys okay? Anxious cries rang out. When they saw that the 2 of them were safe and sound, almost everyone heaved a sigh of relief. The Nan Gong family's guards were especially terrified. They were practically lying on the ground. Nan Gongqing's life and death were secondary, but Huai Mu Yu could not be harmed in the slightest. Otherwise, the entire Nan Gong family would be buried with her. We are fine, but young Master Qing's injuries are severe. Quickly bring him back to rest. Huai Mu Yu said. Yes. The group of people cupped their fists and hurriedly helped the 2 of them down. Su Yun was covered in mud. He was in a sorry state. so no one cared about his clothes. The house that he stayed in previously was damaged, so Su Yun was brought to a guest room on the south side. Inside and outside the guest room, there were many guards. After all, after the assassination attempt, the Nangong family's guards were naturally at their peak. A servant walked into the house, wanting to help Su Yun set up a small, cleansing array to remove the filth from Su Yun. "Where's Xiao Chui?" Su Yun, who was lying on the bed, immediately stopped the servant and asked weakly. Xiao Chui was injured by someone and almost lost her life. She is currently receiving treatment in the treatment hall. The servant called Xiao Fong said, "This is bad." Su Yun held onto his forehead and said in pain, "Without Xiao Chui's help, how could he remove the filth? Once his true appearance was exposed, it would be terrible. In truth, he could use the shape-shift bone piece to temporarily change into Nan Gongqing's appearance, but he could not even move at the moment, much less use the shape-shift bone piece. Although he had consumed Huai Romuyu's pill, his injuries had not completely healed. The leader's strength seemed to have some leftover energy. At the start, the reaction was not strong, but as time passed, the feeling became more and more astonishing. "Young master, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? The doctor is already on the way." The guard at the door saw Su Yun's worried look and thought that he was in pain. "No, it's not that." Su Yun sighed. Just then, the servant had already placed the cleansing array on the ground. She walked to the bed and extended her hands out to help Su Yun undress. Wait a minute." Su Yun immediately grabbed her hands. "Young master, what orders do you have?" The servant was startled and asked softly, "About that, I can cleanse myself. I do not need anyone to serve me." Su Yun turned his head, preventing the servant from seeing his appearance, and said weakly, "Furthermore, I do not need any treatment. Let him go. I can heal myself." "How can that be?" The servant immediately said, "Young master, your injuries are severe. We need to treat you. The filth on your body will affect the treatment. Please allow this servant to undress you." Seeing that, Su Yun could only put on a strong front and decided to chase them away. But just then, a clear and melodious female voice came out from the door. "All of you can leave. I will cleanse young Master Qing's body and treat his injuries." With that said, everyone turned to look, only to see Huai Ro Mu Yu standing at the door with a pale face. "We greet Miss Huai Ro." Everyone immediately bowed. "All of you can leave." Huai Ro Mu Yu said gently. The servant was in a difficult position. "But miss, you are a noble. This matter. What's there to be afraid of? I'm cleansing my future husband. Why can't I? Quickly leave." Huai Ro Mu Yu's voice was firm. Hearing that, how could the servants dare to disobey? They immediately asked to leave. Very quickly, the door to the room was closed. Su Yun looked at Huai Ro Mu Yu in shock. He naturally heard her words, but he never thought that Huai Ro Mu Yu would say such a thing. Is this really Huai Ro Mu Yu? Su Yun felt that his mind was in a daze. Huai Ro Mu Yu's face flushed red. She turned and walked to the front of the cleansing array. She injected a bit of profound spirit qi and activated it, then walked towards Su Yun. "Why are you doing this?" Su Yun asked weakly. "You saved me before." Huai Ro Mu Yu extended her hand out and gently grabbed onto Su Yun's collar and started to push him to the side. He could feel the cold and delicate fingers trembling when they touched his skin. He raised his eyes to look at Huai Ro Mu Yu, only to see that her clear eyes were filled with panic. She had been holding on. "You don't have to do this. I'm not that weak. I can heal myself after resting for a while." Su Yun said, "You don't have to hold on. You're the one holding on." Su Yun thought helplessly. Huai Ro Mu Yu gently closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly. She opened her red lips. "I know your difficulties. If you are discovered by these people, your life will be in danger. So for the sake of protecting your secret, I will cleanse your body and heal your injuries." With that said, Su Yun had already taken off his clothes. His bronze-colored muscles were exposed to Huai Ro Mu Yu's eyes, causing her heart to jump. Ignoring his cultivation, Su Yun's body was truly perfect, much sturdier than the other cultivators. Huai Ro Mu Yu's cultivation was much stronger than Su Yun's, but cultivation was only cultivation. Ignoring cultivation, Huai Ro Mu Yu was still an unmarried young lady. "Get up." Huai Muyu said with a trembling voice. Aren't you going to take off your pants? About that later. Huai Muyu took a deep breath. A look of anger flashed past her eyes. Suyin laughed. He immediately got off the bed and staggered into the cleansing array. Huai Muyu took another deep breath, then extended her delicate white hands and placed them on Su Yun's chest. She closed her eyes. Activating the cleansing array, waves of gentle and warm spirit qi rippled out like a spring breeze. The filth on Su Yun's body dissipated into the air, and in a moment, he looked completely new. But it was not over. Huai Muyu raised both of her hands, her fingers pinching like orchids. She stored a bit of spirit life qi and injected it into Su Yun's body through her fingertips and started to treat him. His body was suffused with a gentle and warm feeling. The almost dried-up qi channel started to recover. The dried-up spirit essences started to circulate again. The damaged flesh started to feel itchy, and new flesh started to grow. Huai Muyu's spirit qi seemed to have a guiding effect. All the pills that he had swallowed previously started to take effect under her spirit qi. It's about time. You still have injuries on your body. Stop first. Su Yun felt that he had recovered well, and immediately stopped Huai Muyu's spirit qi from entering. When Huai Muyu's hands left his chest, he could see the deep fatigue in her eyes. Yes. She nodded her head lightly. She took out a few pills and placed them in her mouth, using spirit qi to treat her injuries. After a moment, her pale white face started to regain some color. What exactly happened? Why did so many experts suddenly appear in the Nangong family? Seeing that she was fine, Su Yun asked. I only found out from the manager just now. Huai Muyu said lightly. There might be spies in the Nangong family. These experts have disguised themselves as servants and have always been hiding in the Nangong residence. Their target seems to be me. When the riot started, a group of people directly attacked the Nangong residence. Burning, killing, and plundering, creating a riot, they lured all the experts in the residence away, while the people who were hiding rushed towards me at the same time. The guards that I brought were all poisoned by them, and were unable to protect me in time. Saying that, Huai Muyu looked at Su Yun curiously. Come to think of it, you're only a 6th-stage Spirit Star Realm cultivator. How did you sense the poison? Even my guards sensed it too late. I know a thing or two. Su Yun laughed, although his cultivation could not be compared to them. But in terms of medical knowledge, he was still stronger than them. Huai Muyu nodded her head and said, because my family is in the business world, I have many competitors, and in my life, I have suffered many sneak attacks. Maybe these people are just some of the competitors of the Huai family. When I return, I will definitely investigate this matter. Then how many days do you plan to stay here? Su Yun asked. This. Huai Muyu thought for a moment, then said, maybe for a period of time. Chapter 404. The Nangong family's sudden rebellion caused the entire city to be in an uproar, and everyone in Sky Central City was discussing about it. Some people thought that it was done by the enemies of the Huai family, while others thought that it was done by the enemies of the Nangong family. Their purpose was to divide the Huai family and the Nangong family, so that the Huai family would vent their anger on the Nangong family and achieve the purpose of killing with a borrowed knife. But no matter which possibility it was, it had already caused the Nangong family to be in a terrible situation. Nangong, who immediately organized people to investigate this matter, and when the current patriarch of the Nangong family, Nangong Du Hua, and his wife Zhang Yan received the news, they quickly returned to the Nangong family. This matter was not a small matter. If they did not handle it well, they would offend the Huai family and bring disaster to the Nangong family. Of course, whether things were good or bad had nothing to do with Su Yun. Although Huai Muyu had seen through his disguise, what was unexpected was that she did not fall out with him. Instead, she took the initiative to cooperate with him and continued to act out the act. Xiao Chui's injuries had not healed, and Su Yun was unable to contact Nangong Qing for the time being. But then again, the Nangong family's matter has already caused a huge uproar. Why hasn't he appeared yet? Had he not received any news at all? He could only wait for Xiao Chui's injuries to heal, and then let Xiao Chui go find Nangong Qing and bring him back. Of course, Suyin was not in a rush to leave the Nangong family. The statue array seal behind Nan Gongqing's house was an extremely good thing to him. Suyin deduced that he would not stay in the Nangong family for too long, so he used the excuse of recuperating to stay in the Forbidden Grounds. Anyone who came to visit him would be rejected with the excuse of being in closed-door cultivation. Behind the statue, in the forbidden area, the formation beneath him continued to spin, and a large amount of mystical aura poured into his body. At the same time, his talent skyrocketed, and his cultivation and comprehension reached an ethereal and mysterious realm. It was a multiplier of more than 80. Even if it was a spirit master cultivator or an even higher sky spirit master existence, it was almost impossible for them to possess it. He greedily used this seal to cultivate, as if he did not know fatigue. Any difficulties or obstacles in his cultivation would be solved without him having to do anything. Of course, improving one's strength could not be achieved through meditation. After some enlightenment, Suyin jumped out of the array seal and stepped on the muddy swamp, brandishing his divine sword. 8 parts, 8 whole sword formation. Frosty sword formation. 7 tribulations sword formation. Limitless sword arts. With the support of the ultimate talent, Suyin comprehended them one by one, gradually extracting the essence and comprehending the essence. This kind of heaven-defying talent was something that even the most powerful people would covet. So. The sword flashed on the swamp like a gale, sweeping up the fallen leaves. Waves of sword chi danced along with the sword. The pale white sword chi was like a white dragon spinning in the air. Wherever the tip of the sword went, a cold light bloomed. The more sword chi I release, the faster my profound chi will be consumed. However, with the support of this formation seal, coupled with Mu Yu's elixir, my profound chi will definitely increase again. Suyin thought to himself as he became more focused on his dance. His fighting strength soared, and in this period of time, he actually broke through to the 7th stage of the Spirit Star Realm, raising his cultivation to 1640 points. Just like that, a month passed, but in Suyun's consciousness, it was only like another day. Young Master. At this moment, there was a cry of caution from outside the forbidden area. Was it Xiao Chui? Suyun, who was still meditating in the array seal, opened his eyes. Supporting the 7th tier Imperial equipment, he released Sword Chi and landed at the edge of the swamp. He quickly walked out of the Forbidden Grounds. After exiting the Forbidden Grounds, he saw Xiao Chui's delicate and pretty face. At the moment, she had lost a lot of weight. Her face was extremely pale, and she looked extremely haggard. "Are you feeling better?" Suyin asked. "Thanks to young master's good fortune, Xiao Chui is fine now." Xiao Chui bowed to Suyin, then said, "Young master, Xiao Chui is here to inform you." "Inform? What letter?" "It's a letter from old master and madam. They have already reached Fu Chi Valley and will reach the residence at noon today." Xiao Chui said. "So fast. There's only a little more than 2 hours left, right?" Suyin frowned. "I thought that they would be late for another 2 days. I never thought that they would be here so soon. I will not be able to hold on." Xiao Chui, quickly invite Nin Gongqing over. "Then, what about Miss Huairou?" Xiao Chui asked softly. "It's already settled." Suyin laughed. "Huairou Mu Yu and Nan Gongqing's marriage will not continue. Don't worry." Hearing that, Xiao Chui was startled. "Really? I can't explain the details in such a short time. I will tell Nan Gongqing when he comes." "Oh, okay then, young Master Yin. I will go get young Master Qing to come back now." After Xiao Chui finished speaking, she broke into a run and ran outside. "With Nan Gongqing back, my mission is complete, and I have to prepare to revive the Sword Elder." Suyin took a deep breath, then turned and walked towards the Forbidden Grounds. "Since I still have some time, I will cultivate in the array seal for a while." Cultivating in the array seal for 2 hours is equivalent to cultivating alone for 20 hours. After leaving the Nangong residence, I will not be able to have such a good time anymore. Suyin stared at the sculpture, and as per usual, he entered the array seal and sat down cross-legged, closing his eyes to meditate. The array seal released circles of gold light that continued to flow into his body. As time passed, the gold light slowly dimmed, and the feeling of enlightenment became less intense. Suyin opened his eyes and glanced at the array seal beneath him, only to see that its rotation speed had started to slow down. Suyin took a deep breath and continued to sit cross-legged. The array seal had a lifespan, and the array source that maintained its operation was a type of energy stone. Every time the array was activated, it would slowly deplete the energy stone, and even if it was not used, the energy stone would slowly deplete, just that it was very little. Maybe the energy stone of the array is about to be depleted. I wonder what kind of energy stone is used to create this mystical array seal. Suyin thought. He hesitated for a moment, then suddenly stood up and stared intently at the array seal. If I can grasp this array seal thoroughly, wouldn't I be able to set up this mystical array seal whenever I want? Suyin suddenly thought, if I can grasp this mystical array seal, wouldn't my talent increase by 100 times? How heaven-defying would that be? Thinking about that, Suyin became excited. He immediately squatted down and pulled out the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword. He placed it at the center of the array seal and thrust it downwards. There was no reaction. He increased his strength by a bit. Kacha! A crack appeared. A crack appeared in the array seal and temporarily stopped working. Suyin immediately crawled down and activated the heavenly scale divine eye to look at the crack. He did not know what the energy stone was. Just then, a burst of red light suddenly burst out from the crack and enveloped his entire body. Before Suyin could react, he was suddenly sucked into the red light, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared behind the statue. The abnormality happened too suddenly, and no one could react in time. Bang! A muffled sound came out. When Suyin regained his senses, he realized that he was no longer in the Forbidden Grounds. His surroundings were blood-red, as though he had arrived at a unique space. What's going on? Suyin crawled up and looked around, but it was empty. There was nothing. Thump! At this moment, the sound of heavy footsteps suddenly rang out from behind, followed by a deep voice. After so many years, someone has finally come. Suyin tensed up and suddenly turned around, only to see a man holding onto a sword standing not far away. The man was dressed in a blood-red Blade Master outfit. His hair was messy, with a long braid tied at his back. He looked to be free and fearless, his expression indifferent, his sword-like eyes deep, staring intently at Suyin. Suyin frowned slightly. He felt that the man was somewhat familiar, but he could not remember where he had seen him before. After thinking for a moment, Suyin slapped his head and suddenly realized, wasn't this man the statue on the altar? Who are you? He asked carefully. Nangong Wen-Tian. The man replied. Nangong Wen-Tian? Who is this? Forget it. I don't care anymore. I'll ask about the situation first. Where is this? Suyin continued to ask. My world. The world that belongs to my heart. How did I come to the world in your heart? Because you forcefully opened the array seal source that I left for the Nangong descendants, and was absorbed by the array seal source, so you came to my world. Absorbed by the array seal source. Suyin was stunned for a moment, then suddenly thought of something and exclaimed, Don't tell me that the array seal source is... That's right. Nangong Wen-Tian nodded his head. It is my heart. To actually use the heart as the source, such an array seal could only be said to be one of a kind. Even if Suyin had the ability to transcend the heavens, he would not be able to replicate such an array seal. But if that was the case, it would explain why the array seal could give people 80 times the talent. Most likely, it was Nangong Wen-Tian's talent. You are able to enter the world in my heart. You must have used the array seal, right? Nangong Wen-Tian asked. Suyin nodded his head in agreement. To be able to barge into my enchantment, you should have some ability. I have waited here for the Nangong family for so many years. I have always been waiting for someone to use the array seal, and now it has finally happened. Nangong Wen-Tian looked at Suyin and said indifferently, After I constructed the array seal, anyone who uses it will be sucked into this place and receive my teachings. But you're different. You forcefully opened the array seal to enter this place, although there is some deviation, but it does not matter. All right, let us begin. Begin what? Receive your teachings? Su Yun frowned. What do you want to teach me? Sword techniques. The ultimate martial world's fastest sword technique. Nan Gong Wen Tian said indifferently. Fast? Hearing that, Su Yun could not help but frown. He still remembered Feng Ling Sheng's sword. It was very fast, the kind of speed that came from a person's heart. It was not his sword that was fast, but his heart. Feng Ling Sheng had taught Su Yun many things, and with regards to the enlightenment of the fast sword, Su Yun had gained some insights. But for him to say that he wanted to teach him the ultimate martial world's fastest sword technique, it made people feel that he was boasting shamelessly. I can see the disdain in your eyes. Do you think that I am not qualified to teach you? Nan Gong Wen Tian said indifferently. I do not dare, but senior, why does the ultimate martial world's fastest sword technique think that your sword is the fastest? Because if I say it is the fastest, then it is the fastest. Nan Gong Wen Tian's expression darkened. He raised the sword in his hand. A cold light shot towards Su Yun like lightning. The speed was indescribable. Su Yun was startled. He immediately brandished his sword to defend, but it was too late. Nan Gong Wen Tian's sword was already at Su Yun's neck. So fast. Su Yun's eyes widened. I've already placed my sword on your neck for a breath's time. In this breath's time, I can attack your neck at least 738 times. This kind of frequency can easily shatter your protective aura and directly cut off your neck. You're too slow. Nan Gong Wen Tian placed his sword down and said indifferently. Su Yun frowned. He retreated a few steps and raised his hand, causing the 1,000 swords in the sword sheath to fly out, all of them spiraling in the air. It was a majestic sight. Senior, you say that you are the fastest. Then let this junior test your sword technique. Su Yun bellowed. Limitless sword arts. Nan Gong Wen Tian looked at Su Yun, who was surrounded by the flying swords, his face revealing a look of astonishment. Chapter 405. Senior knows of the Limitless Sword Sect. He was quite famous back then. How could I not know him? Nan Gong Wen Tian looked at Su Yun and said indifferently, I thought that the Limitless Sword technique had been lost. I never thought that my successor would actually be the successor of the Limitless Sword technique. Could this be heaven's will? Your successor? Su Yun frowned. Senior, I never said that I would accept your teachings. You've used up all of the formation seals that I created with my heart as the source. You've received the blessing of my life's talent and countless benefits from me. And now you're saying that you won't accept my teachings? What? Are you not willing to be my successor? Nan Gong Wen Tian's expression turned cold as he snorted. Or are you saying that you think my fast sword can't compare to that broken limitless sword art? Sword-breaking art. Do not insult the Limitless Sword Sect. Su Yun was annoyed. He bellowed and waved his hands, releasing 1,000 swords. Swish, 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 swish. The sound of flying swords could be heard continuously. A large number of sword images spread out like wings and flapped towards Nan Gong Wen Tian. A dense sword concept assaulted him, but Nan Gong Wen Tian held onto his sword with one hand, not moving an inch. Contempt. Undisguised contempt. Su Yun's heart hardened. He did not hold back and directly thrusted his 1,000 swords forward, forming an encirclement around Nan Gong Wen Tian. However, just as the circle of swords was about to reach Nan Gong Wen Tian, a large number of swords appeared around Nan Gong Wen Tian as well, blocking the oncoming circle of swords. Su Yun's eyes congealed. Nan Gong Wen Tian clearly did not move at all, but the 1,000 swords were unable to harm him. Wait a minute. Su Yun suddenly sensed something and stared intently at Nan Gong Wen Tian's hand. His arm seemed to be trembling slightly. It wasn't that he didn't move. It was because the frequency of their movements was too fast. Thus, it created the illusion that there was no movement. Nan Gong Wen Tian had been defending against the flying swords all around him. How fast did it have to be to create such a phenomenon? Su Yun was stunned. Although you have many swords, they are too slow. It's so slow that I can fall asleep. Nan Gong Wen Tian said calmly as his body moved slightly. Su Yun felt a chill in his chest. Lowering his head, he saw that there was a long sword in front of his chest. Traces of coldness seeped out from the edge of the sword. penetrating his skin and piercing his heart. It was as if his heart would be pierced in the next second. Nangong Wen Tian was already standing in front of him. I lost. Su Yin secretly clenched his teeth. Nangong Wen Tian put down his sword. Su Yin cupped his fists and bowed to Nangong Wen Tian. Senior's swift sword truly lives up to its name. This junior has learned a thing or two. Now you know how powerful my swift sword is, right? Nangong Wen Tian said indifferently. But it's not too late to understand now. Let me ask you, are you willing to be my successor? If Senior is willing to take back the insults towards the Limitless Sword sect. Humph, you're asking for a yard after taking an inch. How many people have begged me to teach them? But I refused. You've received such a great favor, and you still don't know how to be grateful. Nangong Wen Tian's expression became even colder. The Limitless Sword sect has given this junior a new lease on life. Although this junior is not a gentleman, but I can differentiate between gratitude and hatred. Gratitude is gratitude. This junior will definitely not be disrespectful to those who have helped me, and will not allow others to be disrespectful to my benefactors. You're truly stubborn, Nangong Wen Tian said coldly. But do you think that you can stop learning after coming here? Brat, let me tell you, I will definitely not take back my words. At the same time, I will also teach you my consummate technique, Divine Wind Sword Technique. The more you don't want to learn, the more I want you to learn. With that, Nangong Wen Tian immediately raised the sword in his hand and started dancing. His movements were extremely slow, so slow that he looked like an old man practicing Tai Chi. What shocked Su Yun was that he had actually grabbed onto the immortal mystical scarlet blood sword and started dancing along with his movements. What's going on? Su Yun was startled. This is the world in my heart. Naturally, I will control it. Brat, in here, I am the god. Whatever I want you to do, you have to do it. It is not up to you. Nangong Wen Tian bellowed, and then started to chant the sword chant loudly. Qi circulates through the meridians. Concentrate and understand the heart. From slow to fast, from slow to fast. The sword moves according to the heart. Qi moves according to the sword. Heart and sword is one. Slow becomes fast. Fast becomes even faster. Nangong Wen Tian continued to chant while brandishing his sword according to the chant. While Su Yin was unable to control himself, his body started to move. Although it was not his own will, but the movements of his body produced an indescribable sense of familiarity. And after training for a long time, as long as Su Yin thought about it, his body would move accordingly. Wait till I refine your body into the Gale body. At that time, even if you don't want to be my disciple, you won't be able to, Nangong Wen Tian said coldly. The slow movements of his sword gradually became faster, like a motor that was starting to move. It became faster and faster, faster and faster, his movements becoming smoother and smoother. The sword images that his arms moved actually had a breathtaking beauty, and gusts of wind followed the movements of the sword tip. You better stop right now, Su Yun roared. Be my disciple, and give up on the limitless sword technique. Nangong Wen Tian bellowed. Definitely not. Then I will impart the entire divine wind sword technique to you. Not only do I want to impart this sword technique to you, I want to teach you its essence. The more you do that, the more I want you to be my disciple. Nangong Wen Tian bellowed. The speed of his sword movements became faster and faster. Su Yun felt that he could no longer see his own arms. The immortal mystical scarlet blood sword had disappeared without a trace. In the sky, a few figures were flying extremely quickly, and in front of these people, there were many gigantic palaces in the clouds. All of the palaces were built magnificently. The roof tiles and jade pillars radiated with light. It was a majestic sight, with white clouds floating in between the palaces. It was extremely beautiful, as though it was a paradise. This place was called Emperor Palace, and was a rather famous sect. Clan Elder, no matter how we look, we always feel that this place is a paradise. I never thought that we would be able to step into such a paradise. A voice came out from Long Xian Li's side. It was by Yin Shan. This time, we are fortunate to be able to train here. It is truly a blessing bestowed by the heavens. Yin Shan, you're the most talented in our sword sect. You must grasp this opportunity well, train hard, and strive to catch up to the other disciples. do not throw the face of our sword sect. Long Xianli said gently. Yes, clan elder. Bai Yinshan nodded her head. When the Emperor Palace disciple leading the way heard that, he turned his head and snorted, a look of disdain in his eyes. The weakest of the disciples here are at the 6th stage of the Spirit Star realm, and there are countless of geniuses, although this young lady's talent is not bad. But her cultivation is too lacking. If she wants to catch up to the most ordinary disciples here, it will not be an easy task. Bai Yinshan frowned. She was about to speak up, but was stopped by Long Xianli. She gently shook her head, indicating for Bai Yinshan not to be rash. The disciple leading the way turned his head and continued to lead the way. Only then did Bai Yinshan stop. Yinshan, although the sect leader and the palace master of the Emperor Palace have a close relationship, but a relationship is just a relationship. In this world, the strong are respected. Even with my cultivation, I am the lowest, so it is reasonable for us to be looked down on. You do not need to take it to heart. But the more it is so, the more we have to work hard to train. Understand? Long Xianli said gently. Yinshan understands. Bai Yinshan replied softly, but her fists were secretly clenched tightly. So. Just then, a few rays of green clouds flew over from the horizon like missiles. Hearing that, everyone turned to look, only to see that the clouds had landed in front of the Emperor Palace and immediately stopped. The mist dissipated, revealing an old lady and a few men and women standing on top of the clouds. Bastards of the Emperor Palace, get the hell out here for this old granny. You guys killed my disciple. Today, I will make you pay with your blood. The old lady held onto her cane and shouted towards the direction of the palaces. The mournful roar resonated throughout the palaces. When the disciple who was leading Long Xianli and the rest towards the Emperor Palace saw them, his face immediately changed. He actually shouted and turned to run. Master, there are a few disciples of the Emperor Palace there. Just then, a lady with sharp eyes beside the old lady pointed towards Long Xianli and said softly, "Oh." The old lady turned her head, her wrinkled face revealing disdain. You want to run? Aunt, if you want to walk in front of this old granny, you have to greet me, understand? With that said, the old lady grabbed the air, her hand actually extended infinitely, directly grabbing the disciple, and then with her 5 fingers that were as withered as vines, she squeezed. Crack! The disciple's entire body actually shattered, like a smashed watermelon. His blood and organs fell from the sky. So strong. Bai Yinshan and Long Xianli's heart trembled. There are 2 more. Kill them all. The men and women beside the old lady moved and rushed towards them. Long Xianli's face changed. She anxiously shouted to Bai Yinshan, who was beside her, "Go!" With that, she brandished her treasure sword and rushed towards them. Clan elder. Bai Yinshan's heart tensed up. How could she leave at such a time? You useless woman, you want to fight against me? You are truly seeking death. A man approached Long Xianli. Seeing that she was actually pointing her sword at him, he was immediately enraged. He punched towards Long Xianli's head, without the slightest bit of tenderness towards the fairer sex. Clan elder. Bai Yinshan panicked. She immediately rushed forward, intending to use her body to block the attack, but ignoring the fact that she was not fast enough. Even if she was fast enough, she would not be able to block the attack. So, just at that moment of life and death, a gold light shot out from the Emperor Palace. With an extremely fast speed, it pierced the man's waist, knocking him away. The man fell backwards, somersaulting a few times in the air before stabilizing his body. Looking at his waist, there was actually a gold sword pierced through. Everyone looked up, only to see a large number of figures flying out from the Emperor Palace, and the person leading them was the Immortal Sword sect leader, Lin Shishan. Sect leader. Seeing that, the 2 of them were overjoyed. Lin Shishan, who was dressed in a white Blade Master outfit with a white belt on his head, flew over. His sword-like eyebrows frowned. Staring at the old lady sternly, he bellowed, "The dignified Suicide Valley suicide, which actually dares to make a move against the younger generation. If this were spread, wouldn't you become the laughing stock of the world?" You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey. to catch the most captivating stories.